and ever-changing news, and computer terminology. Commodore news. Are you keeping up with the Commodore? Yes, the Commodore is keeping up with you. Are you keeping up with the Commodore? Yes, the Commodore is keeping up with you. Are you keeping up? Yes, the Commodore is keeping up with you. Are you keeping up? Yes, the Commodore is keeping up with you.
Hello and welcome to episode 223 of Zapped to the Past. I am Adrian Mills. I'm joined as always by Mr. Graham Raddings. If you haven't listened before, this is a podcast where we discuss games that were released for the Commodore 64. Last week, we looked at our first batch of games from issue 90 of Zapped 64, which we are, of course, in no way affiliated with, and were bored by Blue Baron, fondled the Filofax far too much in Match of the Day, and required less frustration in Reckless Rufus. This week, we conclude our look at the games in November 1992, along with what was also lighting up our TV and cinema screens that month. Graham, this is the end. The end of the epic quest. The finale of our crazy odyssey through the world of C64 games as reviewed in Zapped 64. This is it. This is the last games. What delights do we have for this final batch of games?
Well, goodness me, we've only gone and made it to the end of all the Zapped magazines, and of course that means we're also out of the games that were in the magazines too. Don't worry though, we've got plans to continue doing what we do, and of course you can now pledge your support for our Zapped to the Past book via our Kickstarter. So lots more for us to do, and so, in a month where British Formula One Supremo Nigel Mansell crashed his Williams car during the season ending in the Australian Grand Prix in Adelaide, but still won his first Formula One World Drivers' Championship by 52 points, we're egging off on another Spectrum-like escapade as we chase after Daisy's Fluffle, hey up, and get trapped by a troublesome troll in the never-ending egg-based tomfoolery of Dizzy, Prince of the Yolk Folk. And then we head to the lab, check in with Froderick and Igor, and scoot around the spooky castle and grounds full of haunted objets d'art on the lookout for body parts and Abby someone's brain in the decidedly ghoulish Frankenstein. 1,700 plus games later, and it all boiled down to another egg game, body parts, old board games, and darts. I don't know. I imagined it would be more exciting. It feels kind of like when you pull a Christmas cracker and there's no bang, or gift, or hat, or anything. So it's just a kind of foil-wrapped bog roll tube, really. Anyway, while we see off these final games before heading into a whole new era of the podcast, we head back in time to 1982 and, for reasons no one in 1992 or even now can understand, decide to hit up some re-released early C64 board game conversions. Side A holds Grandmaster Chess, and Side B is Renaissance Othello. Both will load quicker than it takes the chess game to decide on a single move. And finally, we grab our best throwing arrows and for the final time head to the hockey to play a game of snooker. Golf. Riddle me darts. Well, any version of darts except the actual inferred bullseye version in Bully's Sporting Darts. And that is what we call a wrap on all the games in Zapped 64. And indeed, it was the end of Zapped 64 magazine in that iteration in 1992. 90 issues. Done. Of course, it changed to Commodore Force after that, and nowadays there is an amazing reboot available via Fusion Retro Books. So, we will march onward with new things. Maybe even more egg games. You never really know. This is the end. Doom, doom, doom. My only friend.
Yeah.
What delights have we got? Well, what delights have we got?
I don't know.
let me give you that. Let me give you. I'm not sure what. I don't know why. What Irish Delights, is that a thing? I don't know. That sounds like an album by Terry Wogan or something.
Turkish Delight.
Fries full of Eastern Promise, wasn't it? Yeah. I'm not a big fan of the Turkish Delight. I know a man who is though.
Who's that?
That's
Wilson?
Podcast friend Guy Brown Sauce. But only one kind of Turkish Delight. There are many Turkish Delights. And
this is his Turkish Delight.
This is right. He likes, sugary perfume gelatin, really. But you know what?
That's his Tinder profile, isn't it?
That's his 3 words for his house, yeah.
Where have I ended up? Sugary perfume gelatin. Oh. Whose house is this?
Who house is this? And why are there so many brown sauce bottles strewn around?
Oh dear, yeah, it would tell you that probably.
So it is, this is the end of a long journey. Nearly, there's the bread bins and there's other stuff, but this is the end of the Zapped magazine, isn't it? This is the last bit of the last Zap, the last
four
Zap,
games.
the last Zapparoo. I was looking back over those early episodes and issues the other day, just to sort of, go back. I was just going back to the source, a bit like, in the Matrix. I went back to the source just to see what it was, from the original magazine. It's really thick, luscious, beautiful artwork on the front, really lots of interesting articles and editorials and scores and all of that stuff. And you look where it ended, a kind of flimsy pamphlet with almost a pizza advert in it, really. It's got as much depth in it, in many ways, as much depth as our local pizza leaflet, really, and our local Chinese leaflet, Chinese restaurant leaflet. So it was, I don't know, it's a bit disappointing where it ended, really, the magazine and the games too, in some respects, I suppose.
I mean, we knew. I mean,
it was winding down, wasn't it? We knew it was going to.
We knew it was winding down, but we knew at the start that we were going to get into uncharted territory because I tuned out the magazine sort of issue 50 something. You tuned out around the same time, or even before that, I think, hadn't you? Yeah. So I had no idea going into the last sort of 40 issues or something what it was going to be like. I had no idea, but it's been a very strange experience, sort of going through these last couple of years where there was no point of reference from the past. It was just a case of what the hell is all this lot? So it's got so thin, hasn't it? So thin and wan. So
it is thin and wan, very thin and very well. And I think. I mean,
I like my ladies, but not my magazine. It's run out of steam. It's just the magazine's run out of steam, but it hasn't because they just changed the name of it, really. But for a while, but it's kind of the C64 is at this point running out of steam. It gets another, it gets a second wind, doesn't it? Much later, but at this point, recently,
the Amiga's really taken its toll on everybody. The Amiga is kind of ruling the roost now, but also even the Amiga is now starting to. The early signs of consoles, there's new things on the horizon. We're not that far away now, really, from... I mean, when was the PS... Yeah, when was the PS1? Did that come out? Was that 85, is it? No, 95, something like that?
94 in Japan, I think. 95.
Wow, so we're really near the dawn of very much the new era of CD-based games, stuff like that. I mean,
3DO, CDI is about to land. Not that they were very good, but the Atari Jaguar.
Yeah, and then of course the Amiga themselves were going through something of a crisis by this point. Slowly starting to the Amiga 500, then we had the 600, then we had the 1200, then we had all the other strangeness, the CD32, whatever, and just there was just it was a confusing time for hardware and. In the midst of all that, the Mega Drive and the SNES really did land in the UK heavily, didn't they?
It's the thing is, it's a cycle with everything in it. It's that people want the new. So you want the new, you don't want the old. So the C64 at this point is 10 years old. We don't want that anymore. We want the new. So we want the Amiga, we want the SNES, or we want the Genesis, we want the PlayStation. It's coming out in a couple of years. And the C64 gets forgotten about. But then, as with anything, the people who played with it at the time grow up and they hack back to their years of their youth. And that's what's happened with most things. You can see it in music as well. It's like the way that we've just seen ABBA Gold and ABBA resurgence in 1992, when for the 80s ABBA were a bit of a joke band that weren't really liked very much or anything like that because they were seen as they're too recent to be liked and they're out of time, but now their time has come again. And you see that with everything. So now the C64 is back in vogue these days because it's retro, and the Amiga is, and all these kind of machines have become again, so it's just a cycle, isn't it? I'm sure right now people are sort of longing for the Xbox 360 nearly, because if you think about it, the Xbox 360 is over 20 years old.
Yeah, oh my God, really it is, isn't it?
2005 Absolutely that came out.
Mad.
So it's
mad.
Yeah,
that's mad.
Yeah, it's just a cycle. Everything's just a cycle.
And I also think that it's because it doesn't seem that long ago that we were talking about, we've got ages to go yet. We've got ages to go yet. It doesn't seem that long ago that we were, in the middle of the Zaps, in the 50, issues 45 to 50, which is slap bang in the middle, isn't it? It doesn't seem that long ago we were there, and it just seems to have accelerated to 90 over the. I know this because I think this, but even though there's less games, the episodes are still as long. But it just seems to the pace seems to have accelerated, and
it's because if you've got less games, you've got less episodes per issue.
Yeah. It just seems to accelerate. I know it's sort of a logical acceleration, but it just seems the pace of things just. It didn't occur to me at the time how quickly the change happened between the C64 and the Amiga and stuff. Even though obviously I got an Amiga, I kind of took it for granted. I'd never really looked back. So once I got rid of the C64 and my disk drive and all the discs and everything else. And I'd got my Amiga, and I was into more of the Amiga stuff. I never coded on the Amiga or anything like that. I was just all about, demos and games and stuff like that, and then doing music really. So, but once that had taken over, I never really looked back, and I'd never really thought how quick that transition happened. Because when everyone has got a C64 and you're all talking about it, that's what was very much it was prescient. When new games came out, everyone was talking about them. When the Amiga, by the time I got the Amiga, I'd left school, so I was only really knocking about with obviously you and Gary and people like that. Well, you and Gary, actually, not say people like that. Actually, actual you. There wasn't some kind of alternative Adrian lookalike that used to come around periodically. There was Beatty and Barry used to come around. They were very similar to you guys.
I never got on with Barry. Never really.
No. He was into bread sauce, not brown sauce. He was a
green sauce.
It's just an alternative Gary, the Barry. He still wore the same Foster's polo shirts though, because they both liked it. They both he liked them. But yeah, Barry, and then there was Beatty, of course.
Beatty, he was just no, he wasn't for me. He wasn't. He played the sitar, not the guitar.
No,
here he is, Beatty on the sitar. Down.
It's just a whole idea in my mind now. I've got this character in my mind now called Beatty.
Playing a sitar.
Playing the sitar, just carting it to the youth centre that we used to go to practice in the band. And just imagining
strings broke. I don't know. There's so many.
And then bless him, Roy. The wizard, Roy, the wizard who used to run that. And now there's just a posthumous shout out for a lovely, amazing, influential guy in Grimsby at the youth centre scene. A guy called Roy.
Roy.
Ran the Yab. Was it Yabra, that the youth centre?
No, it wasn't the Yabra. It was the one. Corporation Bridge, wasn't it?
Yeah, I forget the name of it now, but we used to go in a band. We used to go and practice there every Sunday, and that
West
guy,
Marsh, wasn't it? West Marsh,
East Marsh, something like that. Yeah, it was just on the end of you say down the Corporation Road, wasn't it, in Grimsby? But it was a place that was it was a youth centre, and they had like a PA, and you could go on, and it was like a little mini practice centre for bands. And Roy was a very talented musician, guitarist, and just genuinely really nice guy who used to give up his weekends and particularly his Sundays early. He'd get up early to go there and switch everything on, get all the equipment out so we could go and plug in and play as a band. And he did that for, I don't think he earned a lot of money doing that, really.
Well, it's because it was free.
So, yeah, for us it was
free.
But,
it was free. Yeah. It was crazy when you think about it. Crazy.
Yeah, and just amazing. I don't know if even that exists anymore. The place is still there, but I don't know what it is now. But and sadly, Roy passed away some time ago. But he was just to say, he was a really, really lovely guy, and really put a lot of bands in Grimsby on the map, and helped them. And of course, we did a battle of the bands with some of those. That was where Derek 8 was from. Remember the 8 Derricks? That was where they were from. They were out of that, you said, weren't they?
Yeah, the Proto Nesta.
We had the 8 Derricks, Derek 8. There was Pinto. They were out of there. There was quite a few Grimsby bands of the time. You weren't necessarily. Some of them went on to record albums. Pinto did, I think, and I think what were they called? That was that mad punk band with that we were playing about. Paroxys were there, of course, and really, really, different bands, different strokes for different folks, but all supported by the love of one guy who just kept that place going on his own. And there was a woman there as well. I forget her name. She was nice as well. But Roy was kind of the guy was the guitarist. He was in a band himself, wasn't he? Because was it Twisted Lemon he was in?
No, he was in Spectral Noise.
Spectral Noise. I always think he was in Twisted Lemon. Why? I don't know. But that was Twisted Faith, by the way. They weren't called Twisted Lemon. That was our... I still call them it now, and it's terrible, really. It was many years later, and the real rivalry for us is still there. I'm joking. They had that. Steve Crane was their guitarist, wasn't he? He was an amazing guitarist as well. I'm not going to reminisce live on a podcast, but long story short, I did want to mention that because that was a pivotal part of our youth going there, and it ties into this because that was kind of the world that became for us. We kind of moved into that, and so we were moving away from games and playing them. We didn't play so many, apart from every now and again we'd have a Monkey Island visit or we'd play IK Plus. Yeah. But it was very much an as and when. It was not something, whereas when the C64 days, we'd come around to the house and we'd sit and do C64 stuff. But we wanted to do other stuff, record movies and magazines. And we just
grew up and grew out. A game, I think that's the thing that, obviously, most people realise that these days. I'll probably listen to this, that I think that it was a period where games were, let's say, for kids. Games were for kids. Grown-ups didn't play games very much. If your dad came in, they were like, "Oh, what's this all about? I don't quite understand it." And stuff like that. So it was not until really with stuff like the PlayStation, as we aged up and out, that games became a bit more aimed at older people. There was stuff on the NES, on the SNES and on the Genesis a bit, but it was still very much aimed at sort of young male, especially from the late 80s onwards, young male teens and stuff. So we just aged out of it because we're a bit, I was 18 in 1990. We just aged out of it. That's all it was.
And I think we were just very media, weren't we? I mean, we did media at colleges and universities. We all had video recorders. We were well into recording and making videos, both at college and in our own time. We were we made our own fanzine, literally printed in my bedroom on the world's loudest printer, blue tacked into a typeset, and then taken to a printers and duplicated at our own expense. It was inevitable that we were going to end up going back to visit some of those things. And now here we are. We've been talking about the Zapped to the Past book, and I'm typesetting that. It's like going back and revisiting some fun things. It's quite, I think it's just been in our blood, and creative with computers is the direction it went, I think. But it started on that C64. It all began there, all of it.
I've been toying with the idea of, just as a case of it was being created back then, is I've been toying with remaking Heli Squad in Unity.
Oh, why don't you? You should do that.
It'd take me about a week, if that.
Yeah. As long as I can put a crack throw at the beginning with S-Express on it.
But I'm generally sort of tempted to just do a quick vertical scrolling shooter of Heli Squad. Sort of same sprites, same backdrops. Just make sure it runs without the glitches.
Make it a stretch goal for the Kickstarter. So if we hit a stretch goal, you'll make that game.
I'll remake Heli Squad. Yeah, can do, I suppose. It was tempting because it's like it wouldn't take me very long. It's not going to take me very long to do a vertical scrolling shooter in Unity. About an afternoon or something. That's how long it would. It wouldn't take you long on Unity to do that because you're an expert at that. I was going to do like a little mini demo on the C64. And it turns out I'm not an expert at that anymore. Goodness me. I nearly had a hemorrhage trying to remember half the bloody crap. So I sort of got so far in, I'm like, I got a scroller going and some raster bars. I'm like, looking at some of those recent demos, I'm never going to release that. No, it's just going to, some things are best left in the past. And that's one of them. Yeah. But
you should do that game. Do that game, definitely.
Be a bit of a laugh, just a modern version.
Yeah, I'll do you some music for it, some Heli Squad music for that, as well as if you kickstart, stretch goal it, I'll do the music for it as well. Oh God!
All right, we'll pop
sound effects.
Maybe pop that in.
As long as you don't mind. Pew, 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 pew. Whoosh.
No, it's exactly what I want. It's exactly the sound effects you want.
Wah, wah.
Yeah, I'll just put it out for free on itch or something for people to download or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway,
games.
Enough of this nostalgia. We've got old games to talk about.
We have, enough of this nostalgia. Let's talk about some old shit.
Yeah, absolutely. So we get into them. We got 4 games for the final episode. There are 4 games. Well, 5 technically.
Yeah, 5. Yeah, but 4.
5 technically.
Yeah.
I say 5. Anyway, there's 5.
Those 2 count as 1.
I think saying 1 is a push.
Yeah, true.
But we'll get into them. Let's get to our very first game of our final episode. And Graham, it's over to you. Your favourite egg has returned.
Aye.
He's back.
Oh, goodness. For the avoidance of doubt, it is not my favourite egg anything. So
you love it. You love him, don't you?
you love him, don't you? You take that back. Gary's chuckling to himself now in his little boots. When he's doing his dance.
Yeah,
do your dance, little boots. Do your dance. God, that's Caligula jokes now. We like to explore the niche levels of humour. That's
he's telling Barry to shut up and stop stealing his brown sauce.
God's sakes. Right. Anyway, publisher here. So it was Codemasters. Obviously, it was Codemasters. They're the only other ones left, and they are the masters of the egg game, aren't they? Coded by Ian Gray, of course. So Ian Gray. If you're wondering what other games Ian Gray has made, let me tell you. So Dizzy Fantasy World, Dizzy Magic Land, Dizzy Treasure Island. But he also did Dariath. Remember that? Dariath by way back?
Ooh, I do remember Darius, yeah.
He did something called the First Starfighter, which made me laugh. So, all right, okay, I'll give you that one. And there's some unusual games in there. Aquanaut, do you remember Aquanaut way back? A very early version of that, Aquanaut, sorry. A game called China Miner, which sounds dubiously titled, doesn't it? Anyway, there's a few games in that history of this. You did Murray Mouse, do you remember that?
Yes, I do. I don't want to.
No, you don't want to. Nobody does. And the music was Alistair Brimble, and he's obviously had a bit of a run on. He did more Amiga stuff, I think. I like Alistair Brimble's music on the Amiga. He's done some great stuff, Project X, and some great stuff further. The C64 stuff, I don't think has ever been quite as good, but there's things like Slicks in there, which wasn't so bad, and things like that. He did Fun School Special Paint and Create, of course, which I know you loved, and The Hunt for October. If you need a list, Dizzy Down the Rapids, he did that as well. He's done a few Dizzy games. There's a Dizzy Spellbound, which is don't merge those two things anyway. All right, Dizzy, blimey. Okay, so there is a blurb for this, which is on Lemon. This is the 6th game in the everlasting egg-based tale of Dizzy, it seems. This came out on everything. Commodore 64, ZX Spectrum, Amstrad CPC, Amiga. Can you imagine this on the Amiga? Atari ST, DOS, NES, and then later the Ant Stream. So I'm guessing that's probably one of the DOS or NES versions, I guess. Is it Ant Stream's a streaming retro thing, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
So the blurble then, well, it says a limited edition, extremely rare Dizzy game. Don't know why it says that in the blurb. I don't know if that's a comment or whether that's just by their own declaration. I don't know. Battle Rockwart the Troll, meet Pogie the Fluffle, avoid Seamus the Leprechaun, ooh, shivering on that stereotype, summon King Arthur from his crusades, and wake Daisy from her 100-year snooze. So do stuff. Grand Dizzy was feeling very down one day, so Dizzy and Daisy decided to cheer him up. I feel like I should do this in the voice of like Thomas the Tank Engine. Grand Dizzy was feeling very... Oh, it's more Gary Barlow again, wasn't it? So Gary Barlow reads the Dizzy instructions. Grand Dizzy was feeling very down one day. So I can't do Gary Barlow for long. So Dizzy and Daisy decided to cheer him up by baking him his favourite food, cherry pie. Feed my cherry pie. Good water and a sweet summer. Cherry pie. Anyway, so off went
warrant.
Daisy. It's a bit of warrant there. Off went Daisy to get some cherries from her cupboard, and there were none to be seen. This is as dramatic as it gets. Pogie's pinched the cherries, she cried as she saw Pogie's paw prints in the cupboard. So Pogie is an animal. That darn Fluffle. No damned in here. There's no damning anybody. Come here, you. And Pogie promptly darted off into the enchanted forest to escape Daisy's rage. Rage? That's a bit harsh, isn't it? No, that dog's trying to... Dog? It's not a dog. Why am I calling it? It's a Fluffle. The Fluffle's clearly scared Daisy. Anyway, Dizzy and Daisy decided to go into the forest to catch Pogie and gather some more cherries at the same time. Make some mini eggs. While searching for Pogie, they got lost and found a castle. That's not lost if you found a castle, is it? You found a castle, you're not lost. You're lost if you don't find the castle. Where they thought they would find help, but it seemed deserted. They looked in the castle for Pogie, but Daisy caught herself on a mystic spinning wheel. She started feeling really sleepy. So she found a bed and went to sleep. Wake up, Daisy! Wake up, shouted Dizzy. But before he could wake her up, Rockwart the Troll caught him and locked him up underground.
Hang on. So she's only just gone to sleep?
Yeah.
But didn't the initial bit say, wake Daisy from a 100-year snooze?
Yeah, it did say that. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Who wrote this shit?
Well, yeah, exactly. We don't know. Right. So, it says, so the loading screen here, this is, so the game. Okay, the game then. It's a Dizzy game. The loading screen here is the usual Dizzy Spectrum game on the C64. Look, it's nicely drawn. I'll say that. I give them that. Probably
It's
looks better on the Spectrum, I would imagine, a bit brighter, but it's all right. High-res shenanigans. Get past that and the title screen will appear. It's the usual Dizzy thing, though, isn't it? The titular anthropomorphic egg stands atop a platform, dancing about, surrounded by vaguely coloured Spectrum graphics and a logo at the top. In fact, I quite like the trees on the screen to the left and right. I did, credit where credit's due. They look quite nice, them, in the display. The game's going to take part, and happen in the middle of this in a little block. Music-wise, a jingly-jangly, uber-twee piece of misplaced folksy toodling, kind of ambles along continuously, destined to drive you to the volume on the TV and just slowly turn that down. Start the game and it's the usual Dizzy state of affairs. The UI is the same as the one from the title screen, and details your lives and room name and that kind of thing. You control Dizzy with the joystick, left, right, up, diagonals to jump, fire to interact, pick up, drop, talk. The usual Dizzy controls. This is a Dizzy game, so it's a flick screen walk and seek puzzler of sorts.
Of course.
First order of business is get out of the room that you're in via a locked wooden door with only some matches, leaves, and a jug of water to assist you. Doesn't sound like a friendly place to be, that. That's exactly what they've got in Guantanamo Bay. Anyway, you pick up the leaves to drop near the door, to use the matches to start the fire, to burn the door, to use the jug to put out the fire. It's more of that kind of thing. They've swallowed a spider to catch the fly and all that kind of thing. In-game graphics look like every other Dizzy game that's ever been on the 64, with the exception of Dizzy Down the Rapids and then maybe that other puzzle one, but they look like the standard Dizzy adventure games. I've said it before, they're not horrible looking, and indeed they're pretty detailed in that high-res way, but they're not great for the C64. They look a bit colour-washed and a bit washed out, and Dizzy looks a bit pale and a bit wan. Well, he's an egg, he's not wan, he's just a bit pale. Controls are responsive enough for this, but also really bloody annoying, because it's that usual jump over things you didn't want to kind of controls. I found myself always just jumping too far. I can't control this. He jumps and rolls. Stop rolling immediately. Just jump. But he doesn't. He always rolls a bit too far. So you've got to sort of always jump at least, a sprite and a half back from where you actually want to land. So you've got to, you've got to plan it that way. And that's just how this plays. Talk to the thing, pick up the thing, walk 3 screens left, use that thing, pick up the other thing, walk 3 screens right, talk to the thing again, avoid the other thing, drop off the ledge to land on the thing, to do the boat, to go on the thing, to pick up the thing, to do that, whatever. It's that. It's all more of that. Lots of mapping if you like that kind of thing. I quickly found myself using the off switch to turn off the game. Is it bad? No. It's just another Dizzy game to run around and map. It's more of the same. There's nothing special about it. It's just another Dizzy game. In fact, if anything, I'd say these games lack the personality that they think they seem to have. And so the main character in it is neither cute nor endearing. Not for me anyway. None of the characters in this really matter. The lack of continuity with these games really means you don't really care what you've got to do or why, because none of it really seems contingent on anything else that's happened in the other games. So it's just the trouble, there's troubles in Dizzyland. She pricked a finger and fell asleep and you've been trapped by a troll. Right. That's it. That's the premise of this. There's no adventure in that. You just, just an unfortunate incident has occurred. No, there's been an accident, really. Actually, this is like Casualty. This is like an egg version of Casualty. She's pricked a finger and she might be dying in that bed, and I'm trapped in a room with nothing but implements, MacGyver style, to get out. That's not a puzzle game, is it? This is just boring. It's in the kind of the Spectrum Land version of the Magic Knight games. These aren't they, really? I suppose. And I guess in their defense, they've endured enough to get continuously released on everything that can animate an egg or that can have an animated egg on it. I don't quite get the fascination with these games. I don't quite get why they just, out of all the games you could persist across platforms, why you would choose to just keep making egg games and making these Dizzy games. They've clearly run out of inspiration. There's not a lot for Dizzy to do in this game. You're just wandering around trying to find stuff, which is exactly what you did in all the games, I suppose. But normally you'd think there'd be a bit more of a tale in this, or Fluffle or whatever it is ran off into the woods and you got lost and then got trapped in a castle. But really, that's the culmination of 6 episodes or 6 storylines. This is the final of the 6th storyline, that ultimately ended up with one of going to bed and being tired. I mean, goodness me. I mean, really? They've clearly run out of steam with the ideas. So I think underneath these games, in all fairness, there's kind-hearted people that just want to make something that isn't about death or destruction, I guess. And that's fine. There's an audience for this. It's probably young kids, I guess. They're kind of nice, I suppose, is the best thing you can say. And maybe in a world of horrors, a nice game is a welcome distraction from some of those other things. And it certainly, at least, is a finished working game. No bugs in it as such, but it does function as a game. So there is that, and it is budget. But I like eggs, but this one isn't for me. But then I suppose that's fair because they've never been for me, these games. So
nope.
What did you think? Are you a fan of the egg, the 6th egg?
No. No, that's a pack of eggs. That's a box of eggs, isn't it? The 6th egg.
It is. That's the 6 books for a dozen clucks is how you advertise that.
Yeah, sort of thing. So it's like every one of them has been off slightly, and I've not liked any of them. I've cracked them all. I've looked inside them, and I've not liked what's come out. Mm-hmm. They've always floated in the water. That's the problem with these bloody eggs. More of the same from the standard Dizzy formula here. I still don't like, I've got the same as you, still don't like the jump and roll. Almost always rolls you off the other side of the platform.
Yeah.
Dead annoying. Just let me jump normally. Dizzy's got legs. You don't need to roll.
No.
You put legs on him for a reason.
No. And he would roll obtusely as well. He would roll off to one side or the other, wouldn't he? He wouldn't straight roll.
He's not a weeble.
No.
He's an egg with legs. Leg egg. Anyway,
Yep.
what to say about this? Windows system is decent enough, although when you pick something up until you have more than one object, you're not sure which colour is select an option. Is it blue or is it purple? Is it blue or is it purple?
Yeah, true.
That's always annoying. Give me an arrow. Give me an arrow next to the one I'm selecting. Don't give me colours. I've got two options and they're different colours. I don't know which is the right one until I pick something else up and then I know which is the right one. But anyway, the music's a bit on the twee side. And when there's anything moving on screen, I got to the one with bit with water. Oh, slow down. Slow down. Because it's trying to emulate a Spectrum rather than doing what the C64 is good at. We've seen loads of animated water on the C64 that work fine.
Yeah, Turrican.
Nobody Aardvark and stuff like that.
Turrican 2.
Turrican 2's loads of them. Stop doing this crap. It's just more dizzy.
Yeah.
I guess for those folks, those Yolk folks who dig this kind of wander about game and find stuff. Well, I'm just
Yokies.
on the name, innit?
Yokels.
Yokers. Yokels, yeah. Absolutely. What do you call two dizzy fans? A double yoke.
Why am I laughing at that? Why am I laughing?
I don't know. You made the joke. I just sort of framed it properly.
You did.
Anyway,
you did.
You know, they'll get anyway. These yokers, they'll get something from it, but it'll come as no surprise by episode 223. I do not like these games, and this has done nothing to change my mind. My final comment on this is simply eggy.
Yeah, they've got no nose, have they? I've just noticed. Dizzy's got no.
Dizzy?
No, Dizzy or Daisy. Neither of them have got noses. They've got a bit strange that. I know. I suppose you would have a noses, but then they've got mouths, so no sense of smell for those eggs, is there?
Do they like suffocate when they go to sleep and close their mouth?
Well, it just makes you wonder why in some of the games they need breathing apparatus. I mean, but I guess they breathe through the mouth. Do eggs breathe? I don't know. There's a whole biology. I don't want to get into the deep dark depths of Dizzy egg-based biology. So at the end of the day, they're full of eggy albumin, and I don't want to think about that.
No one wants to think of Dizzy's albumin.
No, I don't want to think. I don't want Dizzy spilling on anything.
That better be yolk. Damn you, egg!
That's so good because they went off into the woods, didn't they, for a little, bit of private egg time, shall we say?
Yeah, and they couldn't find a cherry.
Couldn't find a cherry, so he took her to a bedroom and pricked a finger. All right, okay, whatever. They call that. I think roofies is what you tried there, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, something went seriously wrong here, Dizzy.
Dizzy, you tried to spike Daisy, and you didn't go into this isn't a good place for you. Right? This isn't a good time. No. Don't do that.
Poggy doesn't exist. It's a safety animal.
Yeah. Yeah, the fluffle. I mean, come on. Right.
Absolute fluffer.
Exactly. Dizzy was tickling Daisy's fluffle. Was he now? And where were you in the morning of, it sounds like a report happening, really. We shouldn't be too harsh on it, should we?
It's just Dizzy. It's just eggs.
Yeah. It wasn't very exciting. It wasn't very exceptional, and other egg-based puns are available.
Yeah, not very extreme or anything. Let's move on. It's enough about this bloody Dizzy. Enough.
Yeah.
Gary will be shouting at his headphones.
Barry and Gary both.
Well, they share them. They only have one each. Barry have headphones. No, Barry. We share them, Barry. Barry one headphone.
Yeah, he's like a bad Gary. It's a bad Gary clone, the Barry.
The bad Gary. The Barry. There you go. Anyway, let's move on. We've still got 3 games. We've got some games to get through. Let's get to the next one. And that next one is, well, we've played this. Well, I thought we had before, but it's not. This is Frankenstein. Frankenstein, our final game from those prolific C64 budgeteers, Zeppelin Games.
Wow.
Comes in the form of the spooky Frankenstein. Not the first time we've played a Frankenstein game here, but there is certainly less waiting in this one, and not a sight of those piffling bears. Nope, we're in budget territory here, and a game design that is old as time itself. This was coded by David Sowerby, graphics by Neil Hislop, music by Andrew Roger. Between them, you've heard them before. They worked on International Five-A-Side, International Ice Hockey, Sleepwalker, Tai Chi Tortoise, Match of the Day, F1 Tornado, Q10 Tank Buster, so on, and so on. All those games we've looked at over the last year or so. It was now impossible, Graham, to find a manual for the C64 version of this. And when I say nigh, it was impossible. I couldn't find one. Just disappears. It seems to have disappeared into the sands of time. But I did find a copy for the Amiga.
Okay.
It seems to be the same story, kind of. It didn't have loading instructions, so it's not for the 64, but I can't imagine it's much different because the game is pretty similar. So it goes like this. This is the story that is in that Amiga version. It goes like this. Hoo, hoo, hoo. Yes, master. Igor, half man, half creature, all idiot. Good staff are so hard to find these days. Take Igor, which is weird actually because I spell it with an E in the instructions, but it's Igor, isn't it? Take Igor, faithful manservant to the eccentric Baron Frankenstein, brave, handsome, intelligent. Just a few of the things he longs to be. But with the Baron absorbed in his ultimate creation, someone has to bring back the bits. With qualifications in total stupidity and basic incompetence, would you trust him with a delicate scientific experiment? Everybody needs somebody, so get ahead and play Frankenstein. None of this makes any sense. Baron Frankenstein is up to his old tricks again, building a monster from the bodies of freshly dead village folk. Not to be confused with the village people. That would be a very different creature that he created. It just gets up. Go west. Igor.
My name is Igor. I like it. It's a good musical in that.
There is, actually. Incidents of body snatching have occurred all over the area, and rumour has it that the village hunchback, Igor, is helping Baron Frankenstein to collect the fresh human pieces. Okay, so that's the story. There's a decent loading screen showing our three main characters. It's a version of the cassette cover. Quite nice, quite nicely drawn. Before we once again get the standard David Sowerby title screen, all blue with some animated sprites and credits, exactly as we saw in International Five-A-Side and Ice Hockey. Exactly the same. The sprites here, though, have various enemies from the game. They do change, so at least that's something. Now, the one thing I'll say about this game, so there's a great piece of music here on the title screen. I thought this title screen music was really good. Starts off with the Devil's Tritone, which I sort of found out which was, dun, 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 which is obviously the start of Halloween, isn't it, by Halloween?
It is,
dun, 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 dun. Before noodling off into something different, but it uses suitably spooky tones and sounds, and I liked it quite a bit. It set the tone for the game. We talk about atmosphere, this sets that. Shows the awful title screen for what it is. Could have been a bit of detail here. We've seen some good Zeppelin front ends, and I think if they'd have put a bit of effort into this front end, that could have been quite nice. Look at that music. Anyway, once you've listened to the music, pressing fire starts the game. And once again, we get a really nice intro sequence. As Baron Frankenstein informs Igor that he needs to go out and get more bodies to finish off the creature before kicking him off the ledge to land outside the castle below. Tip here, hold down left as you fall, or you'll fall directly into a creature below and lose some health. So immediately hold left when he kicks you off. And the game starts properly. We're in sort of Cauldron 2 territory, I thought. When the pumpkin falls off the castle and you get the sort of pumpkin face. It's kind of in that sort of style. It gave me that kind of vibe. So because that intro sequence is pretty good, I have to say. I wasn't expecting it, but you see the creature come down. There's lightning. There's all kinds. It's good. But then we're into the main game. The screen is split. The UI takes up about 5 lines at the bottom. It shows your score, which I don't understand. It just seemed to go up arbitrarily. I don't know what the score is about. It's got your fear level and your number of lives, of which you have 7. And on the right, there is a timer counting down, showing you have 30 minutes to complete the game. 30-minute game. So the game itself is a simple flick screen platformer. Your job is to search the various screens, find the dead bodies, bring them back to Frankenstein so he can build his creature. To do this, you control Igor in the usual way, left and right for movement, fire to jump, and when standing over a body or object, you pull down to pick it up. It'll appear over his shoulder in a sack. Okay. You can only carry one thing at a time. And when you've collected a body, you must make your way back up to Frankenstein's lab at the top of the castle, whereupon he will set to work on it before kicking you off the tower again to go and find another, telling you don't come back empty-handed. I did go back empty-handed at one point, see where it was. He's booted me off. The bodies themselves are scattered all around the game. There's 4 levels or 4 kind of different areas. It's made up of the castle, which has different areas in it. There's the parapets, there's and all kind of interior stuff. There's the lab at the top. There's the forest outside the castle, which is a kind of screens that sort of go left to right. The castle is up and down and sort of sprawling. So you imagine, if you look at this from the side, it would look You could sort of map this and see that this looks like a proper area. You've got the big castle, which obviously goes vertical, the forest outside, which is horizontal. You get to the town, which kind of has a little bit of horizontal and vertical, and then there's the spooky caves, which you can drop down into, which kind of go down underground, which again sort of go horizontal and vertical. Flick screen, as I said. So you move about, you dot yourself around. Once you've collected all the bodies, of which I think there are 9. I think there's 9 bodies. I think there's 12 objects. Right. Once you've collected all them, he sends you out to find some objects. You've got to find a weather scroll, a lightning rod, and finally a brain for the creature. Now, you can find these, but you can't pick them up until you've got all the bodies. So you need all the bodies first. The bodies are dead easy to spot. They're just dead bodies lying around. They're not, you can't miss them. There's just a dead body. You just get on top of it, pull down, and he puts it in a sack and carries it around. If you manage all that, then there's actually quite a nice finish into this. You'll get the creature, brings the creature to life. Lots of sort of flashy lightning and everything like that. And the creature wakes up and gives you a nice thumbs up for your efforts. So in terms of presentation, front end, you've got this nice intro. You've got these different areas to go around. There's all this kind of stuff. And there's a nice ending. Yeah, that's cool. But that all sounds maybe too easy. The game isn't, though. That's, it's not that. You've got 7 lives. They don't give you 7 lives if it's an easy game.
No, they never do.
No, each screen is beset by a cast of random creatures that range from skulls to ghosts to spiders to bats to villagers and everything in between. Loads of other types of things, in this kind of spooky style sort of things. Contact with any of these that will raise your fear bar. Should the fear bar be completely filled, Igor will let out a mighty scream, and one of your lives will be lost. Lose all 7 of them, and it's game over. That's about it. It's a simple design, tasking you with navigating the map to help the Baron find the bodies, bring them back, find the next one, bring it back. That's it. That's all you got to do. Simple controls, simple concept. The game itself's not that big. It's all in one load, so that's something. Visually, it's a bit of a mixed bag. There's some good elements in this. It's all in medium res, so it has a consistent style to it, and that's quite nice. And there are some nice visual touches at times, but at others it looks a little rough in some areas. The main Igor sprite, I thought, is pretty big and well drawn and animated. It's quite a decent sprite actually, and he's got the hunchback. Sort of he jumps quite well when he's carrying the bags on his shoulders. He's sort of got one big bag over his shoulder. It looks cool, and most of the various enemies look pretty good too. The skulls look like skulls. The ghosts look like ghosts. The villages are a bit odd, but mostly everything looks apart. The bats are like bats. They're fine. It's obviously aiming, as I said, for something similar to Cauldron 2. I think that's probably where this is taking a lot of its inspiration from. It's not that good. It does have a decent level of polish to most things. So, Cauldron 2 is a really good-looking game. This is a decent-looking game, I thought. There's some neat spot effects as well. There's good rain. There's rain outside in the forest, which is quite nice. There's flashes of lightning and sound effects that go with it, which is good. And I like the way the moon is slightly obscured by clouds. It's just a nice little touch. Just up in the top of the screen, there's just the moon. And it's just got a couple of clouds in front of it to give it that sort of, that kind of spooky look. And I like some of the signs because you walk there's a bit of depth to this. You've got the background with the plane you're on, and then there's some signs in the foreground and stuff. And as you walk past them, and they're lit only around the edges. So they're kind of like negative space. You kind of walk past them. They're all black and just the edges lit, which is what you would see from the moon being where it is. That's some nice visual touches. But then you got the town and the buildings in the town. They just look rough. I couldn't even make out what they were. The roof is just some lines. It's just dead weird. So whilst past this game are nice to look at, other bits are not. But it's okay. Underground was quite cool as well. But then there's some really horrible expanded rock sprites. It's a mixed bag. But on top of that, I like the music. And I like the music throughout this. And I like how each area has its own theme tune. We don't very often see that, especially as you're wandering about. And that's quite interesting. And it provides some nice oral variety. They're all suitably spooky tunes. And they're more for atmosphere than anything else. But they work to give the game a decent ambience. Spot effects are also good. Sound for jumping, it's low-key enough. You're sort of like, ooh, don't annoy. Igor's scream is quite good. And, it's obvious when you're being hit by something because it's a painful noise. So that's fine. So in terms of all this, you're thinking, hang on, got a decent little game here. But there's problems. There's issues. And this game has a couple. And one I found a little annoying, but a second that put me off the game completely. And it's such a shame. The first is a bane to all these kind of games in that the collision detection on some of the platforms and around the edges is hit and miss and is not on your side. And some of the platform, the way that it flicks screen is a pain. So quite often you'll fall off ledges, and climbing stairs in the castle is an exercise in frustration when you're trying to go up the narrow spaces thinking, I should land on that, and you just sort of drop through and it's like, oh, God. And that's painful. When you go from screen to screen, you'll think you're on a ledge and then it'll flick to the next screen where there is no ledge and you'll fall off. And, you've got to sort of loop back around again, trying to get past the enemies and stuff. And it's just painful. You could get round this, though, if it were not for the other more, what I consider, completely game-breaking issue. So falling off ledges and stuff, going into creatures, it usually leads to you hitting a creature, your fear going up, and and that it continues to go up while you're in contact with a creature. Okay, so that's a bit of a pain. Not just the one hit, it's while you're in contact that will continually go up. So that's annoying enough, right? But should your fear bar fill up completely, you lose a life. But not only do you lose a life, but you also lose whatever it was that you're carrying, and it returns to where it was originally. And I have no idea why the game does this. You're already punished. It's hard enough finding all the bodies and objects and getting them back to the Baron without losing all your lives. And in 30 minutes, this is a tight game, without the added complication of things being lost and put back all the way across the map because you lost a life. Don't get it. I just don't understand it. You don't respawn anywhere. You stay exactly where you are. Don't flick, don't flash, nothing happens. Just the object you're carrying just disappears. And you're like, what? And what? That's just bad design. I cannot understand the reasoning behind this. It just leads to frustration and me turning the game off. I was like, no. Because then you've got to make your way back down through the castle. And it's really annoying if you hit an enemy and you're near the lab. Because you've got to climb to get to the lab, which is quite a several number of screens of platforming action to get there, with lots of enemies and tricky platforming because the platform collision's not brilliant, and you'll hit enemies and you'll lose them and you'll lose the object you're carrying on the way there. I was like, done with this. So game breaking. There's only one place in this game also that I could find that allowed you to lower your fear bar. And it's weirdly, you come into contact with the busty lady in a dinner dress wandering on one of the screens in the town.
Busty lady.
Exactly. I was like, that's odd. Why? Okay. But even then, you have to make it all from her. If you sort of say you're in the crypts and you find a police and you go and sort of stand by her, and your fear bar gets all the way down, you've got to make it all the way through the forest, all the way up the castle without losing a life to get something back to the Baron. Okay. And then you've got to do this 12 times in 30 minutes. No, it's just too much. The punishment for doing so is way too harsh. So I just called it quits on this one. I think without that, if you'd just let you carry on with the body and just cost you a life, this would have been a decent little collect 'em up. It's presented well. The visuals and sounds are all good for a budget game. Thematically consistent. It has a nice ambience. But like we saw with Reckless Rufus, it's got one bad design decision and it ruins the whole thing. What a shame. What a real shame. What about you?
Yeah. I mean, I'm in complete agreement. I thought this had almost the look of a Cauldron 2. It so wants to be.
It's a budget Cauldron 2, isn't it? You get
it is. It's leaning in on that and the kind of the trend for the Addams family that's out there. The spooky house full of stuff and all. And it's sort of borrowing from the NES type approach to this a little, with the little production values assigned, but it doesn't quite work. It's just the wrong side of having consistently good graphics. So there's some screens you go, that's pretty good. And other ones you're like, that's not so good. On the Amiga and the Atari ST, the graphics are far more of the Ghosts and Goblins style, with the haunted face trees, and this is more of the Cauldron-y approach to everything. And as much as you whisper around, sometimes your Igor disappears along the brown backgrounds because of his brownness. Other times it's a bit more colourful representation. The music's good for this, I'll give it that, and the sounds. It's just $3.99's the game, I think. It's like a budget version of Cauldron 2 without the bouncing and stuff. It's just a little bit out of place and not quite all there. It's like one of those games when you like just a little bit, and we've said this about quite a few actually, Zeppelin, haven't we? A little bit more time in the oven, a little bit more polish, and you might have had something quite interesting. But ultimately, one error in design judgment cascades this into something that's a lot more frustrating than it needed to be. And because of that, also, the game itself is a little bit boring, a bit tedious. There's a lot of enemies around. Some of them are unavoidable. I don't really like games like that. And that was Cauldron 2's big curse. It looked great. Sound was amazing, but it was a pain in the ass. And this, it's inherited, the look and feel to an extent, but also the problems of that game. And so you've ended up with a kind of wannabe Addams Family, wannabe Cauldron 2, but not quite hitting the mark graphically. And gameplay wise, it's not quite there. And the soundtrack's good, but it ain't no Richard Joseph, is it? So, 66% it's good, didn't it, in Zap? That's probably the first time I'd say it's probably about right, maybe, for that, but maybe sit on an average. But Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm in complete alignment with you with it. It failed to impress me and consistently. I liked bits, and that's all I can say, really. Not so much the game.
No, that's fair enough. That's you kind of, yeah. It's nearly there. It's nearly there, but stupid design decision. Really, really stupid. Anyway, there you go. That's our first 2 budget platformer find things section over and done with. Luckily, we have no more of those to do. We're going to go away. We're going to go away and take a quick break where we come back for our final look at film and TV for November 1992. What was going on the small and big screen? Stick with us to find out.
The novel Escape from the Commodore 64 by David Hearn is out now. Crash landing on a green planet full of vector graphics, can Sarah find a way to escape for real? Or is she stranded on a planet full of sun, sea, and chippy tea forever? Imagine finding yourself in a cinematic karate game, having to rescue a princess or remain stuck under the run-stop key forever. What about finding yourself on a space freighter full of robots? Could you clear the decks? If you were transported back to a Wild West town, having to round up outlaws, could you survive until sunset? What if you were a wizard with a cat who must colour worlds? Could you beat the game, or would a virtual guitar solo announce your demise? Sarah might just be another visitor, but she doesn't want to stay a while, never mind forever. Available from Amazon and all good online retailers, discover if there's a way out in Escape from the Commodore 64. Visit davidhearnwriter.com to find out more.
And we're back. It's November 1992. This is what's going on in the land of TV, Graham. This is what's going on. On the 1st of November, UK Gold is launched. A joint venture between the BBC and Thames, and shows programmes from the archives of both broadcasters. The channel later focuses on comedy programmes.
Bit of a jip, isn't it, this, really? Especially with the BBC involved. So BBC had famously always been criticised for repeats, hadn't it? People say, it's another repeat on the BBC. Forgetting that the BBC's always been a bit cash-strapped, actually, because its subscription methodology is kind of a government tax. It's a public institution at the end of the day. So to monetize and gain more value from their back catalogue, they stuck it through a paywall, essentially. So this was UK Gold was in Sky, so you had to subscribe to. Now, I don't know if UK Gold was a separate subscription at that time or whether it was through Sky, because because I can't remember the mechanics of it, but essentially, if you wanted to watch old episodes of old Only Fools and Horses and some back catalogue of stuff, you're going to have to jump to UK Gold because that's where it was. And it had adverts in there as well, even if you paid for it, I believe. So it just seems a bit mad. I mean, now it's all slightly changed, but I don't know. People who'd already paid for this, I don't know. It's a bit of a funny thing. I think it was quite divisive as a channel. Some people felt, well, but we've already paid our license fee for this, so why are we being made to pay for it again, to watch it again? And why can't I just, watch it? Why isn't there a way to do that? They hadn't invented the, iPlayer and all of that yet. But repackaging content and putting it behind a paywall, that's the monetization of nostalgia, isn't it? And that's the very early signs, because that was a huge market for TV channels, and that's where it all kind of went for a while. So there you go.
Yeah. I'm not going to argue. I
never watched it. Never had it. Never watched it.
I think I watched it. I think when I had Virgin and stuff like that, when it was on later, you just watched some things on it. But
it's normally I'd switch it on. There'd be a Blackadder on, and I'd be like, I'll watch Blackadder.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
Yeah, or there'll be a classic episode of Only Fools and Horses, like you said. Or Minder, because it's Thames. It's going to be Minder or something, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. 9th of November, ITV's News at 10 is given its first major relaunch. In a part to address the criticism it has attracted over the last few years, in a bid to regain the personal touch that is felt has been lost, the programme dispenses with the dual presentation team in favour of a sole newscaster, Trevor McDonald, who subsequently becomes one of the most well-known newscasters in the UK. Julie Somerville, John Suchet and Dermot Murnahan each present News at 10 when he is absent. The bulletin continues this format until 5th of March 1999, when it is axed.
Yeah, I don't remember what the big change was, because it was still bong, wasn't it?
It just went from two people to one.
Is that revolutionary? I mean,
that's what I mean. I find this really odd, because I'm kind of old-fashioned. I don't know. I find any discussion around news is presented really odd. A more personal touch. Just tell me the facts. It's supposed to be the news. I don't need personal. I just need information. Tell me what's going on.
And
tell me the news.
I never really realised that it was two people, because my memory, if I think back to the news that was on TV at the time, it's just that single kind of
that was
news
BBC
presenter.
Mostly.
Yeah, so
News at 10 was
really
always two.
different.
It was two people. You used to have
I quite like the being. That's very American, though, isn't it? That notion of having two presenters.
Yeah.
I suspect they opened up the studio a bit as well, so it was where they started to not have desks and shuffle papers at the beginning and the end of episode. They would just walk onto the set and they'd have these big elaborate blue screens of some scenes and things like that. There was a bit of a period where they went heavy on the stage production, didn't they, for the set, as it were, for the news, and they had these big elaborate backdrops and stuff. It's probably timed with that as well. I bet he came on and tap danced and did a jig and then sort of clapped his hands and shouted transmit and all sorts of strange stuff.
What, Trevor McDonald?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, why not?
He was it's personal touch. I don't know.
Yeah, well, remember he invented the Big Mick, didn't he? Instead of the Big Mac. His bun had no seeds.
Also, I've read on a toilet wall.
Yeah, poor fella.
12th of November, BBC One airs the 1500th edition of Top of the Pops. That's easy to say. The 1500th edition of Top of the Pops was presented by Mark Franklin. The show features performances from Charles and Eddie, Michael Bolton, Vanessa Paradis, and Boyz II Men. Oh,
what a combo! Of course, it was. Everyone knew that it was a welcoming committee when they saw
Michael Baltar.
Michael Baltar appeared. Baltar.
Charles and Eddie, are they? Maybe they're a welcoming committee from the Cylon.
Exactly, yeah, possibly a Silo welcoming committee. Any one of them could be, couldn't it? Vanessa Paradis. What song was that she had out at that time? I don't remember that.
I don't know. Maybe it was Yola Taxi, I guess.
Was that out around that time? Maybe it was, or maybe we haven't come across it.
The weird one was I found some clips from that Thursday, 12th November 1992 episode, and one was on Vogue, Free Your Mind. And we covered that song because I don't remember us covering that song because it's a really good song.
I don't remember it.
And that's a really good performance of it as well on there. Really
maybe
good.
It's new out. Maybe it came out after, I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember us seeing it, but maybe it was just not something we picked up. I don't know, but it's a good performance of it. Charles and Eddie, Would I Lie to You? I found that as well. That was crap. Undercover, Never Let Us Slip Away. That was
we talked about that. That was rubbish. No, thanks.
Yeah, and also Jason Donovan, As Time Goes By.
Oh, get lost, Jason Donovan. I told you last week.
Yeah, but he can't be stopped. I don't know. But the stand up there is that on Vogue, Free Your Mind.
They were good on Vogue. Yeah, and the rest will follow. They were good. And then, did they do and you're never going to get it, not this time? And that was on Vogue, I think.
I think quite possibly. Yeah, my on Vogue knowledge is not deep.
It's not on Vogue.
It's not. I'm not on Vogue. No, really not. 28th of November, Channel 4 show U2's acclaimed live concert tour, Zoo TV.
Acclaimed by U2 themselves.
It does. I found a copy. Well, this was the live from Adelaide in 1993, but it's the Zoo tour, so it's the same one. But there's a weird bit in it later on where he becomes Mephisto and he rings someone up. It's dead odd. I've put a link to the clip here. But yeah,
there was a sort of a thematic around this Zoo TV thing, wasn't there? It was like some 24-hour TV station or something. And I can't remember.
Incredible sort of stage set with the massive screens and stuff. Amazing visual,
mind-blowing
visual stuff. But
expensive, so expensive.
But it's just still U2 songs. Yeah, can't get away from that, can you?
And most of that was equipment to power the endless looping that was done by the Edge on his guitars.
True. Yeah.
Very talented guitarist, the Edge. He can loop better than anyone. So he just goes ding, 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 ding. He has to do it once. The rest is all loop. After that, it's all loop.
It's pure loop.
Well, everything in his life is like that. If he talks to anyone, he only says one or two words and then the rest just loops. So he has to be very careful what he says. Yeah, otherwise it just sounds like he's repeating himself a lot.
Yeah, it's like he eats one chip.
Okay.
and then spits it out and eats it again. Eats it again. It's like a parent bird.
Yes. Yeah. Well, you know what? He's the Edge and there's Cliff Richard, isn't there? Is there a relationship between two? One's on the edge, one's on a cliff. We've never made that connection before, but it exists. It exists.
That's true.
Or is Cliff edging him? Leave it there. Let's not go any further with
that. No, let's move on quickly.
Thank you very much. That was the news at 10. Gong.
Let's move on quickly. That's what Cliff said to Edge. 29th of November, Sky One airs an unseen third season's episode of Star Trek The Next Generation. It is not shown on BBC Two until 29th September 2007 due to references to the reunification of Ireland being achieved through terrorism in Northern Ireland between the Provisional Irish Republican Army and the Troubles. I don't know anything about this. Do you know anything about this?
Yes, I do. It's referring to an episode of Star Trek Next Generation called The High Ground, which is a season 3 episode 12, in fact, actually.
Okay.
It became, weirdly, it's one of those sort of notable things, mainly for the BBC. There's one line of dialogue in the entire episode, one single line. It's said by Data in the episode. Yeah. He references Irish history in the episode, and he suggests that terrorism played a role in achieving Irish unification. But there's one single line where it mentions that in the whole entire context of the episode. But anyway, it's because of the real world things that were happening around that time, and it was a politically sensitive thing, and the conflict and everything else around that with the provisional, IRA and stuff like that. There's a whole bunch, and the UK is particularly sensitive to that. The BBC were seen, were the nanny channel, weren't they? Essentially. Yeah. So they decided it was inappropriate for UK audiences at that time, particularly during the sort of late 80s and 90s, when tensions were still very much a thing. So they chose not to air it until 2007, bizarrely enough. Now, Sky One, of course, who also had Star Trek Next Generation, did air it, in fact, without any repercussion. So some people saw it in Britain, some people didn't. It kind of seems stupid then that the BBC would not still show it till 2007. But 2007, my gosh, they felt that the political climate had shifted significantly to the point when there was the Good Friday Agreement and everything by then. So it wasn't even the episode's main plot in that. It was just one single line. But in the context of its times, that caused it to be banned off British terrestrial TV till 2007. But Sky didn't give a shit, did they? They were like, we're showing it. So
fair enough.
There you go. That's it. Controversy. Not really. There's more controversial episodes that didn't get banned, including the one where there's other, the really spooky one where the dead bodies rise up in the morgue, and it's a really weird episode where some really creepy stuff happens. So they're all a bit weirder than that, I think.
Oh, I didn't know anything about that. No. Consider myself educated.
Well, they're educated, and there is the infamous episode where Picard strips off and tells everyone that he's actually called Henry Eggerson, and then he just punches Data in the face until his face is smooth, and then teabags Worf. Horrible.
For a moment there, I was going with you. I thought, okay, is this a Q episode?
What, with Henry Eggerson?
That wouldn't surprise me. What's the episode where he's tortured, basically saying how many lights are there?
Oh, that is an excellent episode. That's the where he gets captured by the Cardassian. Yeah, the Cardassian guy. Yeah,
I thought it was
4 lights. That one. Yeah, it's a good episode. Yeah. That. No idea what that's called off the top of my head, but yeah.
What's the deal with the 4 lights? Are there 4 lights?
No. There's only, I think there's only 3. Well, there is only 3, but he's basically trying to break Picard's mind so that he can, basically.
Why does he say 4 then if there's only 3?
Or is it these 4 lights? And I can't remember. Anyway, he's basically asking him how many lights there are because he wants to break Picard. So he conforms, even though he knows how many lights there are. He's trying to get him to sort of just conform.
Oh, okay.
And try and break him. So he just keeps asking him the same question. How many lights do you see? And there's a whole bunch of stuff around it. But Picard says at the end, even though he knew how many lights there were, in his mind, he started to see that extra light because his torture was starting to work because he was obviously torturing him. Yeah. So it's a good episode, that, if you like watching, bald men get tortured for a while, which is kind of what it was when I think about it, which is odd.
Yes. Yeah. Anyway, 30th of November, after 37 years on the air, long time in it, the final edition of the long-running, this is a cop-out, the final edition of the long-running children's series, The Sooty Show, is broadcast on ITV with the episode Fanatical Fun. Sounds a bit dubious, that one. 1 month before its maker, Thames, goes off the air. Although it will be relaunched in September of the following year with the Granada-produced Sooty & Co. So he's back on.
Yeah, you can't, there's no taking Sooty down. That bear will, he'll take you down. He'll do you.
Well, I reckon Matthew Corbett turned up in that suit at the producers. That suit I put there.
A giant Sooty suit. He super glued himself into that. Never take it off. I mean, Sooty's such a lovely, harmless TV show for kids. Very traditional, and very born of the seaside sort of, he's behind you, sort of almost that kind of pantomime type thing. And I admire it for that because it was always uncompromisingly nice and fun and a safe thing for kids to watch, and always better and quite quirky and off the wall a little bit with the humour in it. So I quite liked it for that. To stick it off the air for a month, well, who cares? It came back. You can't get rid of Sooty like that. And Sweep, well, he's going to come after you. No, that bear and dog combo, and of course the bear, dog, and the panda. You mess with them at your peril. I mean, that panda can speak.
What's the dog called?
Sweep.
No, wasn't there a dog? Wasn't there a sort of
there might have been.
To the microphone. Brown dog.
Yeah, when they introduced supplementary characters, yeah, there is. I thought the only ones I remember, the main ones, but there will be other characters. There's an episode where Sweep's entire family visit from overseas, which is one of my favourite episodes of all time.
What's his siblings called? What's his family called?
They all look exactly like Sweep, but the Australian Sweeps have got like little hats with corks on.
Oh, of course they have.
So it's just like it's a terrible trip down stereotypical avenue, but it's hilarious. There's about 40 different Sweeps on. It's brilliant. In fact, I'll find that YouTube clip and post it. So
I'll do that. I want to see that. All right, new shows, new TV shows. Oh God, continuing the series of the fact that we were not watching TV at this point. On the 1st of November, we had Telltale Hearts, a BBC Scotland television miniseries drama about a child murderer who gets released from prison after 17 years.
No, thanks. No, I wasn't watching that. Yeah, meh. No.
8th of November, there was The Borrowers.
Okay.
It's a British television version of the classic,
mini people.
Books. Yes, more people. 9th of November, there was The Life and Times of Henry Pratt.
Okay.
I don't know. Growing up in the north of England in the 1930s and 40s, Henry Pratt spent his life searching for a means of survival and learning how to deal with eccentric relationships along the way. That's like a sort of 30s version of Adrian Mole.
Oh, that's a Tom Chance one. What's it called? Chance in a Million. Sounds a bit like that.
Yeah. Like that. 12th of November, I mean, everyone's heard of this. Absolutely Fabulous started.
Never liked it, did you?
No, I was never a fan. Never really made me laugh. It was very popular though, wasn't it? It ran
massively popular. Massive.
Yeah. This was Christmas specials and popular, wasn't it? You always know when a show is big when it gets a Christmas special. And Ab Fab was always around for a Christmas special for quite a while.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of Jennifer Saunders, and a huge fan of the work that she's done in these kind of things. So right back to French and Saunders, I've always quite liked that humour they've got. Doesn't always land with me, and Absolutely Fabulous seemed to appeal to a very specific demographic of which I was not part of. I sort of, Joanna Lumley looks amazing in it, and there's some very famous episodes of it, and the interplay they've got with the daughter and everything else, and all of that. I imagine it's hilarious if you're into that, but I think I just was not the demographic. So it was just it just kind of went straight over my head. But people dig it.
Daughter was Julia Swaley, wasn't it?
Yeah. And there's some famous sort of cheeky episodes of that.
Yeah. Was she in Press Gang?
She was. Yeah, she was.
And remember her and Dexter Fletcher.
And it endured. It went on for quite a while. It's one of those ones that bit like that Miranda Hart one where people love it. And
they love it.
And they love it. And it just doesn't. A bit like there's this brand.
13th of November, there was something called Gone to Seed.
I don't think I would have watched it.
No, domineering mag plant refuses to hand over a London nursery to her eccentric triplet children, Winston, Monty, and Hilda. A conman eyes the prime real estate. That's the blurb off IMDb. I can tell you no more about it.
Sounds positively thrilling.
Yeah, 16th of November, there was Brill. I have no memory of this. It was some kids show. Timmy Mallet was on it. It was a follow-up to something called Utterly Brilliant, where people came on with hobbies and then they showed off their hobbies. I found a sort of page on something called Adam's Nostalgic Memories talking about it.
Okay.
I have no memory of it, though.
No memory of that.
No. 18th of November, there was Nicetown. This was Paul McGann, I think. Joe Thompson offers to father a child for his infertile brother Paul with disastrous effects for his own family life.
Right. Well, these are obviously, I mean, it's November, isn't it? So people are trapped in their houses in the winter, heading towards winter. Goodness, how dreary is all this? It's all dark at 4:00 stuff, this.
Yeah, 19th of November is Sitting Pretty. This is a John Sullivan, a BBC television sitcom. But this was Diana Bull, David Ashoff. Series followed the travails of a woman whose millionaire husband dies suddenly. She discovered that her husband's will has left her penniless and she's forced to move back in with her parents and sister on their farm.
Oh, right. Okay, one of them.
Yeah. This is remembered. It was the first time he wrote a female in the lead, but it was also remembered as the writer's first notable failure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. 19th of November, there was The Big Battalions.
Ooh.
This tells the story of 3 families, Christian, Muslim, and Jewish, and moves between Britain, Ethiopia, Israel, Jordan, and Saudi Arabia. I can tell you no more. So that's all IMDb said.
I'm already not watching it retrospectively. So.
No. 20th of November, there was In Bed With Me Dinner. I remember this.
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, it's a late-night British TV programme starring Bob Mills and originally broadcast in the 90s. Precursor to the contemporary Harry Hill's TV Burp. Russell Brand's Ponderland and Paddy McGuinness's Paddy's TV Guide. The title was a parody of Madonna's 1991 film In Bed with Madonna. He basically sort of wandered about his house telling stories and sort of showing really weird clips from old TV.
Yeah, that's right. I remember it vaguely. I don't remember it being hilarious, though.
I remember it being quite funny. I quite like Bob Mills. He was some of his... I
don't remember much about
was
him.
Quite amusing. 22nd of November, Look at It This Way. Satirical story of double dealing and infidelity among the London yuppie classes.
Our survey said.
Yeah. 22nd of November, there was The Secret Life of Arnold Bax.
What is that?
Well, it's a British TV movie directed by Ken Russell, who also stars in the title role as composer Arnold Bax. It's one of 8 musical drama documentaries directed by Russell for the South Bank show on London Weekend Television between 1983 and 2002.
Dirty Russell, a bit of Dirty Russell.
Absolutely. Yeah. And finally, 27th of November, there was Framed, a Linda LaPlante thing with Timothy Dalton and David Morrissey.
Timothy Dalton plays a guy called Eddie Thumper. He just goes around thumping people in the stomach really hard. I'm Thumper.
Oh, Thumper, why'd you do that? That's what I do.
That's all I do. And that's all I'm ever going to do.
The clue's in the name. Thump. Thumper, stop. I can't. I won't be called Thumper then. I'll be called Bambi.
That's Eddie Thumper tonight on ITV, 10 o'clock.
Thumper. Who's that?
Why'd they call him that? Oh.
Who's that at the door? Know. I'll just have a look. Oh, hello. Oh, it's Thumper. He stamped me in the stomach. That's what he does.
Honestly, Eddie, I won't tell him a thing. Oh. You won't be telling nobody nothing now.
Do you punch him anywhere else? Good. Just the stomach.
Just a good strong thump. Oh! That's Thumper.
I find anywhere else on the body, it's my knuckles.
Eddie Thumper. Hey, where's that Thumper? We're going to take him. Oh! I'm here.
We've got a man who needs a good thumping. Who should we get for that?
Should we get Fisty Pete?
There's Craggy Crave. Craggy Crave? Who's he? He's no use.
It's Welsh. Get Tom O'Knockers in. Still sort him out. Oh, he's been injured by Thumper. What? It's like an early version of that show with that film with where they kill that guy's dog. What's he called?
John Wick.
Yeah, it's like an early version of John Wick. The TV version of John Wick is Eddie Thumper.
Eddie Thumper. In this week's episode of Thumper, Eddie Thumper travels to the south of London where he finds someone to thump. Oh, okay.
Please find him someone to thump. Yeah, Eddie Thumper. There's a show. Eddie Thumper.
Eddie Thumper. I'd watch that.
Who would have played him though? Who would have played
Timothy Dalton? We just said.
Oh, of course. I wasn't sure if he was the Eddie Thumper, if he was like another, because he plays good bad guys. So maybe is he thumpy enough? Would it be not Lewis? What's his name? The guy out of The Professionals.
I think if it was a modern retelling, it'd be Jason Statham.
Oh, it has to be Statham. It has to be the Stath, doesn't it? Thumper. Oi, Thumper. Oh.
Do you know what I'm going to do to you? Thump me? Right. Boff. Oh.
I've told you, Irish Pete, and now I'm going to tell you with a thump. Oh.
Why, Thumper? Why? It's what I do.
It's all I do. Oh dear! I think we've invented a new thing. There we go. Right, yeah. Last episode, and there we are. A new character appears.
Eddie Thumper. Absolutely. Film.
And a film. Eddie Thumper the movie now.
Where Thumper's talents are stretched to the limit.
Thumper's talent. That's the name of that's the place where he's born. Why is he called Eddie Thumper? Because he lives there. He lived the Thumper's way.
Absolutely. He's born on the River Thump. Thumper on the Thump.
He was born a thumper and he'll die a thumper. He'll die thumping.
he'll go out thumping the way he came in.
Here, Terry, give him a good wallop. He's no good. Terry Wallop's no good against Eddie Thumper.
There's a shot of like when he's in the womb and his dad puts his face up against the woman's stomach. Hey, what should we call it? Thump! Oh! You just hear from inside, I'm Thumper!
Oh dear! Yes,
he's going to be a real thumper. This one, I can feel it.
It's not a word that's used anymore, is it? Punch is used, kick. Nobody thumps anymore. Good thump.
Good thumping.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Anyway, apart from Matt Gray, he's thumpy.
He is very thumpy.
Well,
of
he's
music,
thumpy, not thumper. Thumper and
there's a
thumpy.
difference.
Put them together at last.
Don't be a thumper. You can be a thumpy. It's like a tribe of thumpers. They're the thumpy.
It's like the end of Rocky 3, where they thump each other.
They're heavily thumped.
When Thumper met Thumpy.
It'd be only saying earlier we got off on tangents. That's a mad one, that, isn't it?
I didn't see that coming. That's because you weren't looking down. Oh, Thumper!
Oh!
You should have seen it coming. It's what I do. It's all I do.
It's all I do. Oh!
How are we stretching this out to 22 seasons? 22 episodes in a season. He just thumps.
He doesn't need to do any more than that. That's all he needs to do is take down the bad guys one thump at a time.
That's your job in the writer's room. Get right in situations for Thumper to thump.
Think of ingenious ways that you can thump people.
And why he might thump them. Is he a boxer? No, he's a thumper. We told you this.
He's all thump. He's never boxed. He's always thumped.
Yep.
Anyway, the movies.
6th of November.
Oh dear.
6th of November. Thumper. No. Domo Arigato.
Right, okay.
From 1973. I'd have never heard of this.
That took a while to get to the cinemas.
I know. A young college student, a former GI, on his way home from a tour in Vietnam, meet in Japan, decided to explore the country together. Never heard of it.
No, I've never heard of it. No.
If you didn't fancy Domo Arigato, there was Last of the Mohicans released on this day. And Gary's just gone.
He has. He's just gone. Oh,
because he's met Thumper.
No, he has just sprayed on his monitor. Because as soon as we say that, and when I'm not sure what he sprayed,
Graham,
jury's out on that.
I do believe, Graham, that Madeleine Stowe was in this.
She was. Madeleine somebody. Was it Madeleine?
Was it Meg Ryan? There's lots of M women.
Began with M people. Yes, Madeleine Stowe was famously in this, of course, with Daniel Day-Lewis and other people. Wes Studi was in it, of course. He plays Maguire, wasn't it? I think he's amazing in that. It's a great film, isn't it? Michael Mann movie.
It is a great, great film, this. A really good film.
Really good. I went to see that at the cinema with Gary, actually, as well. We both really enjoyed it. I don't remember you being there, but you probably were because we did everything, didn't we? So it's more than likely. I just remember seeing it and remember Gary raving about it and remember watching that last sequence. I think it's one of those films when you've watched a film that's so complete in its completeness that you feel like getting up and applauding at the end of it because it was such a good movie in the cinema. It's so good and the music's ace in it and everything else.
Yeah, that music in the end.
Yeah, it's so good.
Where they're running up the mountain path after him. Yeah. God damn, it's so good. It's just incredible.
I know Gary says it's ruined by a rubber rock, isn't it, for Gary? He says nowadays he watches it and there's a bit where there's a bit of a bouncy bit of scenery in it. Apparently, I've never noticed it, but apparently
I've never noticed it. No.
But Gary, he made a point when he rewatched it. He got up and complained about the adverts and left. So maybe
that's true. Well, it's because he was watching it sort of thing with a small pebble in his glasses.
He was. Yes, he was.
That's why I thought there was a rubber rock.
But it is a great film, Last of the Mohicans, and of course it's Daniel Day-Lewis, and Daniel Day-Lewis is an amazing actor. Now, I won't go as far as to say that's his most amazing performance because you watch Abraham Lincoln if you want to see that, or watch There Will Be Blood, or any bunch of a dozen, or Gangs of New York. You want to see in these more powerhouse performances, but a different kind of character in this, and all the better for it. It's a great film and some amazing photography in it. So
he became one of the. As I remember at the time reading, how he gets into the role so much. He became one of the handful of people in the world that could reload that rifle on the run.
That's right. Yeah,
because he does it for real. He learned how to do it, and it was because there's the musket rifles, I suppose, aren't they?
Yeah,
they used back then. And he became an expert in reloading them on the run. So when you see him do it in the film, he's reloading.
Absolutely, and of course, he famously stays in character, doesn't he? So when he's on the film, he stays in character. He talks as that character, and you have to address him as the character. So people would have been,
which was a real pain when he played the film version of Thumper.
Thumping everybody. He'd be great. He'd be a great thumper with Dan O'Day. He'd get into that.
Wouldn't he? Could you imagine?
Really
Can you see me? I've got my thumper fist.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, drainage. With his thumbs. With his thumps. No, he's good in Last of the Mohicans, and it's, like we said, great music, great direction, beautiful photography, really compelling story, actually an amazing story. All the better for having the real sort of Native Americans in there and stuff like that, and characters like Wes Studi and stuff like that. So,
it's a brilliant film.
Yeah. Well, and just one final thing on Last of the Mohicans. When we say he stays in character, by the way, nobody was allowed to have anything other than dark hair on the set of Last of the Mohicans, because every time anyone had grey hair, he attacked him and tried to rip their heart out and scalp them.
Oh, grey hair, I come for you.
Yes, and then remember it prompted Gary. The final footnote is he lived like the Last of the Mohicans for a while, didn't he? Dressed like him, ran around saying he was going to rescue him and he would come and find us. Remember, he kept saying that to us. We'll find you. I'm like, Gary, we're not lost, mate. It's all right. Calm down.
You know where my house is.
Exactly. Yeah. And he just,
around the corner.
He kept trying to escape to another part of North America and live a simpler life. Kind guy, though. Kind guy.
Yeah. His heart was in the right place until he got ripped out.
Well, that's when we had Barry replace him for a while, wasn't it? That was awkward for everyone. Awkward.
Yeah. Barry just wasn't saying, was he?
No.
He always insisted on using the toilet too often for my life.
Yeah, and not always in the bathroom, I have to say. So he was
that was Gary's problem as well. But
he shit like a dog, didn't he? Wherever he wanted.
Absolutely. I had to carry bags around behind him.
No pattern. He shit like he was doing a bad noughts and crosses, really.
Yeah, a terrible Sudoku.
Yeah, and then he got thumped for his trouble by
Thumper. Eddie Thumper.
Oh!
If you didn't fancy Last of My Weekends, and you really should have done, you could have gone and seen Simple Men.
Nah, I never heard of it.
No. 13th of November, there was The Hummingbird Tree, story of first love set in Trinidad in the 1940s.
No, never heard of it. I didn't see it.
No. There was also Sneakers. Good film, this. Security Pro finds
I remember it, yeah.
Past returning to haunt him when he and his unique team are tasked with achieving a particularly important item. Robert Redford, Sidney Poitier, Dan Aykroyd, River Phoenix.
Good cast.
Good little heist film, this. I
quite like the heist movies, actually, when they're good like that.
Yeah. There was also Peter's Friends, and we mentioned this briefly with the song.
Yeah, we did.
Last week. 6 former college friends with 2 new friends gather for a New Year's Eve weekend reunion at a large English countryside man after 10 years to reminisce about the good times now gone. I haven't watched this in years, so I don't know what it's like now, but it's basically the Oxbridge Footlights cast in it. Branner, Slattery, Laurie, Fry, Thompson, et al. Just doing a lot of sort of Lovey's British Brat Packs at Elmo's Fire type thing, I think.
Yeah, I mean that cast list that you've written there, it reminds me. It sounds like the in the Young Ones when you've got the when they do University Challenge. It's like
that is them in it.
That's them in it. Basically, it's them. It's rah. We're going to smash the oinks. It's them.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, that's Thompson, Laurie, Fry, and yeah.
It is them.
It is them.
Oh, yeah.
But I can't remember if it's any good. I remember it being a bit cloying and twee at the time.
Yeah, just lots of back slappery and tea cake crumpets in the bum cheeks and things like that.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I've never seen it, clearly.
No, it's not. I think it's about one of them's dying or something. It's a bit bleak at times. I don't know. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've seen it. 20th of November, though. You could have seen Twin Peaks Firewalk with Me.
Your thing, this, isn't it? All the way.
Well, it is. I mean, and it's so I watched about the first 3/4 of this afternoon just to remind myself because I've not seen it for a while. God, it's dark and bleak.
Yeah, I mean, truly scary horror movie, they say.
Jesus, really, really is. Violent weird prelude to the show leading up to the death of Laura Palmer. I went to the cinema. I went to Whitgift. I think we saw this at Whitgift, Brown Sauce and myself, because we both love Twin Peaks and we came out loving this. I mean, we remember sort of talking at the time. There's a real sort of statement of intent in the opening sequence of this is dead weird. I mean, it's David Lynch, so expect strange. But you get like a long opening shot of static on a TV screen with the credits. It pulls out. Then the first thing that happens that you see is a sledgehammer smashing to the TV screen, which is obviously, you could read that as like, I'm
metaphorical,
on film. Yeah. This isn't TV Twin Peaks. This is film. You hear a woman scream, no, and then you hear a smack. Then it cuts to David Lynch shouting as the FBI guy at his secretary who's dead close to him. It cuts to weird comedy straight away. And then it cuts to Chris Isaac and a load of FBI men holding up a school bus and arresting the driver with two old women while loads of the kids on it are just crying at the windows.
Bizarre.
It's a very strange opening. And the first half an hour of this is very odd. Chris Isaac goes to investigate the death of this girl, Teresa Banks, before we get to Twin Peaks. And then the sequences in, the Ray Wise stuff when she realizes it's her dad and everything. It's so bleak. It's so dark. But there's some brilliant sequences in this. The bit in the lodge, the hunting lodge, the bar sort of thing, where the music is so high you can't hear them talk. Like they're just talking away, but it's so well done. But it doesn't, it's just so good. There's so many great sequences in this film.
Talented director.
And it's prompted me to get all of the Twin Peaks. I'm going to watch them all again.
It's a good idea. I've been thinking of doing that. I did start that, and then I kind of just got waylaid with other shows, but I'm thinking that I've never really given it a shot, I have to be honest, so I'm tempted to do that very same thing.
It's brilliant. It's so influential, and obviously we're never going to get a proper, I mean, the end of season 3 doesn't finish things, it really doesn't, but obviously David Lynch has passed away now, and that's a great shame, but we'll never get the real culmination to the whole thing. No. But this is a landmark, influential piece of television. Really is. Right. It influenced so much in so many ways, in so many different medias. Load of games took influences from this. When you look at things like Alien and Aliens and horror games and sci-fi stuff, Twin Peaks has influenced so many games, and having that kind of weird, quirky FBI, weird stuff going on, and not all quite straight and things. It's just so many took sort of ideas from this, and it's just one of those shows. It's just one of those shows that. I know I've spoken about this before, but it's the film itself. If you haven't watched it in a while, do so, because it goes a bit off the rails at the end of sort of season 2, as I've said before. But the first 14 episodes of this are just brilliant, and the film.
Fair enough.
There you go. Single White Female also came out on that day.
All right. Okay.
That's not bad. Decent thriller. Jennifer Jason Leigh, Bridget Fonda.
Jennifer Jason Leig's a good actress, actually. Yeah. In fact, her and Bridget Fonda are both good. So
yeah, it's a good film. It's a decent little thriller. Sort of like she moves in and she's a weird, she starts to take over her life and stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
If you didn't fancy that, there was the probably nicer Sister Act.
Yeah, film that spawned a very popular musical, famously, and she's the cabaret singer, escaping gangsters, goes into a nunnery and then performs the choir, doesn't she? And it's quite fun out of its time, isn't it? But very popular musical. Goldberg, isn't it? Yeah, and they got a sequel. There was Sister Act 2 as well, Back in the Habit or whatever.
There was, yes. I'm never a fan of either, if I'm perfectly honest.
Yeah,
not my kind of thing.
Not my thing, really.
No. There was also Rapid Fire. When student Jake Lowe witnesses a killing, he finds himself caught between two feuding drug lords betrayed and set up by the federal agents. The only person he can trust is Ryan, a Chicago cop who reminds Jake of his deceased father. Brandon Lee film.
Tragedy.
Yeah, and this was night 2, and then the one he did after this was The Crow. Obviously, he died during the filming, didn't he? So
he did, yeah.
So I mean, he's good in The Crow. The Crow's really good. So we'll never know if he was gonna, get out from under his, Bruce Lee's shadow. Really. So
yeah.
You never knew.
We never found out. Tragic, really.
Because I don't think Rapid Fire is anything particularly special. I don't think it's
but he was a special. You could see he was going to be heading in a very. He would have been if it had still been alive now. We would have been a very.
I think he could have been a decent actor.
Up there with the action stars of the time. I think easily.
I think so as well, and I think The Crow would have really cemented him in that kind of.
Yeah, he was
space.
Good in that. It's a good film, The Crow. I watched that not that long ago, and I forgot how good it actually was.
Have you watched the recent version? The one with
I haven't. I don't know if that's any good. No,
awful.
I'll avoid that.
And The Crow 2, City of Angels, that was crap as well.
Yeah. Because and then there was in The Crow they finished the film off, didn't they? And used some digital enhancements at the time because he died during the filming, and they wanted to film it off. So there's some sequences that are It was about 80-90% complete, wasn't it? I think, and most of his shots were done, but a few in the end sequence where they replaced him or replaced his face with some compositing at the time.
Yeah, shame. Really. If you didn't fancy that, there was Tale of a Vampire.
No,
I don't know what this is. Anyway,
no, but the co-writing credits with Edgar Allan Poe on that. I mean, talk about giving yourself a bit of, the old emboldening. Like, you didn't really co-write that with Edgar Allan Poe, did you? So let's not say that.
No, but it's another tragic end. He had Julian Sands in this, didn't it?
Yeah, of course. He died not long ago in a mysterious way as well.
Yeah, January 2023, Sands went missing while hiking in the San Gabriel Mountains. 5 months later, his remains were discovered in the area he'd been visiting.
Very strange, that.
Yeah, what happened? I don't know. And there was also Tetsuo 2, Body Hammer.
Oh, it's just incomprehensible, that film. And still now I don't know what it's about.
I remember us coming out of the cinema from Whitgift, having watched that, not having a clue what we just experienced.
No, I watched a man turn into a wardrobe, I think, at one point. I'm not sure what I was watching. I don't get it. Body horror, isn't it? But, I don't understand it. I don't pretend to even try. I don't get it. It was weird, really weird.
Yeah. 27th of November, there was Of Mice and Men. This was the John Malkovich and Gary Sinise version, playing Lenny and George.
Okay.
Don't think I've ever seen it, this version.
John Malkovich. Yeah, I don't know if he'd be any good. He'd probably be quite good at that, actually. I don't know about Gary Sinise, but... Okay.
Yeah, well, Gary Sinise directed it as well, I think.
Oh, okay.
And finally, there was The Water Dance. Never heard of it.
That. No,
Eric Stoltz, Helen Hunt, and Wesley Snipes. There's a weird combo.
That's this very strange comment. And it's something about the water dance. Oh, together with the water dance. It tells me that it's not that. He just appears just to sort him out. He's not even in the film. Not even credited.
Sounds like this film needs a good thump.
Eddie Thumper. Oh!
You're not even in this film. I'll cameo in what I like. Thump.
It's what I do.
It's what he does, It's what he does.
It's all
What's he do? Oh, he does that. Oh, right, okay. He thumps. It's all he does. What's he do? Oh, stop asking.
Stop asking him that. You'll get thumped good and proper.
That's all he does. And there we go. That's it for TV and film for November 27th. The best thing about, Last My Weekend is the best thing about all that, obviously. But a close second is the Eddie Thumper story. Clearly.
Yeah. TV show that never happened, but should have bloody well done.
Should have. Thump. We're going to go away, have a quick break, and come back. We still have, I don't know, three games, 2 games, 1.5 games left. And then, that's it. So we'll be back in a moment.
The novel Escape from the Commodore 64 by David Hearn is out now. Growing up in the 80s is a chore for Sarah, who feels misunderstood by her parents and badgered by Reese, her bothersome brother who incessantly prattles on about his treasured computer games. When Reese tells her one of the games tried to pull him inside the computer, she laughs off his fanciful fib. She waggles the joystick to disprove his fairy tale and is pulled into the computer. Now trapped in games she'd never had any interest in playing, how can she possibly beat them? With the help of feisty Nell, another trapped player, can Sarah find her way back home, or is it game over? An evil madman, a hostile planet, bloodthirsty robots, a never-ending throng of karate experts, and relentless digital soldiers will do their best to ensure Sarah never escapes. Available from Amazon and all good online retailers, find out if there's a way out of the beige bread bin of betrayal for Sarah in Escape from the Commodore 64.
And for the final time, for the coverage of Zapped 64 magazines and the games they're in, we are back. And Graham, it's over to you to tell us all about Grandmaster Chess and Grandmaster Renaissance Othello.
Okay. So these were published by Advantage Artworks, a Canadian company, I think, and Audiogenic as well, and Kingsoft, and Microreplication. These were published in different places by different people. This is, I think, the re-release, budget re-release at $1.99. There's a reason why it's that cheap. I think this was the alternative software version, but there's 2 games in one here. Grandmaster Chess, of course, Chess and Othello. Ooh. This scored 70%. Inexplicably, it scored 70% in Zap.
I don't know how or why.
I don't know how. Now, I found a blurb to this, but the blurb is basically a description of the basic operation of the game. Now, and it's basically let's just roll it back, and I'll give you a brief summarization of a couple of things, because I think this is probably the easiest thing to do for this. So, okay, what are we talking about? So, what is chess? In a nutshell, chess is a strategic 2-player board game played on an 8x8 grid. Okay, we all know that. Where each player commands an army of distinct pieces, including kings, queens, rooks, bishops, knights, and pawns, each with its own movement rules. The aim is to outmaneuver the opponent through planning, positioning, and tactical combinations in order to checkmate the opposing king, placing it under threat with no legal escape. The most famous player is widely considered to be Garry Kasparov, a dominant world champion known for his deep preparation and aggressive style, though Magnus Carlsen is often regarded as the strongest player of the modern era. Now, when they say strongest, does that mean he's physically strong or mentally strong? We don't know. Maybe both.
I don't know.
No, he could bite steel cables and he could beat you at chess. Don't mess with that guy.
But can he take a thump?
So that's the chess game. Othello, then, or a game also known as Reversi. You won't know it as that. It's Othello.
I've heard it called Reversi.
That's a 2-player strategy game played on an 8x8 board. Sound familiar, that? Where players must take turns placing discs to flank and capture their opponent's pieces, flipping them to their own colour. The objective is to have the majority of discs on the board when it's full, with success depending on foresight, spatial awareness, and control of key positions such as corners and edges. You know, if he was a paramedic, that would be his ambulance, the ring on the ambulance, wouldn't it? As you'd hear it go, it'd be the Doppler effect on it.
Probably.
Doing a Doppler effect then. So the most famous player is Masaki Takizawa, and one of the game's most successful competitors, that person, along with other notable champions such as Hidetoshi Tsukuni. There you go. Okay. All right. So this is 2 versions of that. So these are both games that are, well, the first one, the chess game, is actually from 1983 originally, and it shows. So this looks like a very basic game. It could almost be basic. In fact, arguably, it looks a bit Spectrum-y, I think, really, on this. So
yeah, it does.
The main game is the chessboard on the left, and then you've got Grandmaster chess on the right. And a lot of this is basically keyboard control. This is old school chess on the system. Basic operation, once you've loaded the program, you get to enter your name, choose whether you play black or white. Black always starts. And finally, choose the level from beginner, which is 1, through to insane amounts of time to make a decision, which is like, the more complicated one. And the idea here is you use the joystick or the cursor keys. You can move to the desired square, and you got to try and move. Now, I found when I was playing it for the chess game that I had to, because obviously there's the Othello game and the chess game. So the chess game, the chessboard appears, and you basically move it positionally, don't you? So it's, for example, it would be to move a pawn from 1 space up would be C2 to C3, and you type that in on the keyboard, and then it would go and it would move. There's no sound, I don't think, in this. I don't remember any. And the copyright on this is 1982 on the actual game. And so you're playing a chess game, whereas you're playing the computer opponent. You can choose the difficulty for this, and that's how it plays out. Now, the quality of any game like this is based on how good it is at playing chess with you. I don't play enough chess to be good at chess. I'm not a chess player. I know that's your thing, and my dad was a good chess player. I've never professed to be a good chess player, but I know how it works. I know how to fundamentally move to sort of participate. So I did my bit. I did my bloody bit and moved my pawn when I went to start this game. I went after C2, C3, boop, moved it, and then it was just frozen. And I'm thinking, is it doing anything? Is it thinking? Is it what's exactly is happening? Nothing happened. So I'm like looking at the screen, thinking, is it taking its time? What difficulty is it on? And this is when I realised that I wasn't exactly sure how to, because there's nothing giving away on the screen really to tell you anything in this game. So I didn't know what level I was on. I didn't know. I knew it was my go, and I moved, and it did what I asked. But after that, it was kind of over to the other player, the CPU player. Now, I'm assuming it was on, I don't know what difficulty it was on, but the harder the difficulty, the more time the computer is, quote unquote, thinking about its move. Now, bear in mind that this is the opening move, and I believe the opening move in some chess games is very important. I don't believe it was then thinking of those things. I don't think it was trying to outmaneuver me. I made one move. I moved one pawn up one. So, and I couldn't get it much further than that. When I let it, because you can let the computer play itself. So when I tried to do that to see how it would play, it also took ages to think, even longer, because it was then trying to think twice as long. So I don't know whether it's a good chess game because I never got beyond one move. I could not get it to do anything. And when I did finally, I'd seen that another piece had moved. I thought, I don't know when that happened. It wouldn't let me then move the piece I wanted to move. So in the second game I tried, I moved D2 to D3, which is the pawn that sits above the king. I was being above the queen, I think. I was being pretty chancy. Mm-hmm. Then when I went off to make a cup of tea and came back, it had moved a pawn. I thought, oh, good, it's moved a pawn. Or was it a knight? I can't remember. It moved another piece. So I wanted to move my bishop from like C1 to something like F4 or something like that. So diagonally. When he wouldn't let me, I was like, put the times. It did. It just went, doop. No, C1 to E3. Doop. I was thinking, move, peace. It wouldn't let me do it. So I don't know what was going on. So that's as far as I got with that. So I don't think it's a very good chess game. Superseded by loads of other chess games, including battle chess and stuff like that. Why would you play this? Why would you buy it?
I don't know.
Why would anyone pay £2 for a game from 1982? Nobody would do it. There's better chess games already out there that probably budget. Just why would it be out there? So you might think, well, okay, well, if I'm not into that, maybe I'll go for the Othello game here. Now, the coder for this Othello game was somebody called Louis Savain. It's the only game they've ever did, I could gather. And in this, it's all on kind of one screen. So you can enter your name. The 8x8 grid, which is, again, separated into sort of alphanumeric grid in the traditional sense. And the black and white pieces are in the center. Now, Othello was a board game I actually quite liked. It had quite a nice production value to the board game. The tokens were quite weighty. They're quite nice. So they were plastic. Yeah. They weren't. They were kind of like not marble, but they were kind of heavy, quite heavy weighted. They were quite nice, and it's quite a good 2-player game to play. You know, you've obviously got to try and flip your opponent's coins over or whatever they call them, tokens. So this one's a bit of a mishmash of odd typefaces, which threw me a bit. So it's got the word Renaissance at the top left. The right-hand side of the screen is where you've got the menu. So you've got play, change color, take back, set board, help, change level, and move count. Okay. Then next to that, there's PL, CH, TA, SE, HE, and LE. So I'm not quite sure what they represent, but they were there. And then, so I managed to get the game started, and my only complaint about it, because it's a fairly competent version of Othello, but that the computer play is next to impossible to beat. And there's a slight lag when you're moving your cursor around. So to move your piece on that, you select the square that you want to place your piece in, and then you press your fire button. And it places that piece, and then if there's any tiles to flip over as a result, it will flip them over. And then the opposing player does it, and then you move, and then eventually you run out of space, and you see who's got the most colour tokens, whether it's all black or white, whatever. But I found that there was a lag moving my little cursor around the 8x8 grid. And so sometimes I'd press it thinking that's where it was, and then it would go and move 2 more and then do it there. And I'm like, that's not where I wanted to put it. So it's a little laggy. Again, I don't think it must be from 1983, I think, or something like that. So I'm not going to say any more about it. I don't believe it was a very good game of chess to play because I couldn't really get the chess part working. The Othello was okay, but it's very, very basic, very basic. So I don't know that it's really worth £2. Although we've not seen a lot of Othello games on the 64, so I don't know. I think maybe one other we've seen over time, which was better than this one. So
have we? I don't know if we've seen any. Have we?
I think we've seen another one. I thought we had. I could be wrong, but I thought we had. But anyway, these when I loaded these up, it reminded me of sometimes when in the back when we've been playing the games for the podcasting, we've got the wrong game.
Yeah.
It reminded me of that, but these were the right ones. They're very early on games. A reminder of very simple games of the early 80s. But nothing. There's nothing else there. The chess game, I couldn't actually get it to play chess because it took ages. The Othello game was okay, but laggy. Other than that, nothing to report. What about you?
Yeah, I've no idea what bucket they found these in, or back of which warehouse, or whatever the hell was going on here. But it's an odd releases for sure in 1992. Like you, I started off with the chess, and it just comes up, doesn't it? So I was like, okay. All right, so it's that kind of entry. So, okay, did a couple of moves, and my audacious start of moving 2 pawns out must have completely thrown the CPU. So I then sat there for 10 minutes waiting for it to make another move before I gave up. Do a move. God. Then I restarted. So I chose black this time, letting it move first. And on its first move, it moved its queen. Can't move your queen on your first move in chess.
No, you can't.
So it's just a random square. I turned it off. Grandmaster,
one of those
not.
Jumping queens.
Oh, one of them, yeah. I gave it, it moved its queen, so I gave it a good thump. So that's not what you do. Do that again and I'll thump you. It's what I do. So Except that CPU thump. Othello, I didn't find the lag as bad as you. I don't know whether there was something with the version or something, but it was all right. It's just Othello. I got my ass handed to me in short order.
Yeah. It's playable, I guess, but it wasn't very exciting.
Yeah, it's very basic, isn't it? I mean, if you didn't have a chess game and an Othello game, this £2 might be okay. But the chess game don't play chess. It plays. There's chess pieces.
Yeah, and you observe them.
There's nothing else. Yeah, I think someone's still waiting for it to take a move. Thumper, he's still waiting. Strange releases, 10-year-old games. Where do you find these? I'll put them out.
Exactly that.
And how it got 70%, I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know. There you go. That's Grandmaster Chess and Renaissance Othello. Odd. Let's move along to our final game. And, well, if you've been finally waiting to hear after all these years, absolutely, and I know what it's like for the shortest time to anyone to ever own Trouser Press, it's finally here. This is Bully's Sporting Darts, $3.99, got 82%.
Yeah.
Got something super smashing great here. This is Bully Sporting Darts. It's released by Alternative Software, created all round by Stephen Walters. You remember him, don't you? He did 3D games like Tilt, 3D Pinball, American 3D Pool, Championship 3D Snooker. That guy. But he's moved on now from simulating rolling balls to the fine art of throwing small arrows into a dartboard. Yeah, there's no story for this. But the back of the box does make the following promises. It says this is a darts game with a difference. Try your hand at any of the following, all on special tailor-made dartboards. Football, golf, snooker, tennis, cricket, 501, and round the board. This superb alternative game has tremendous playability that will keep you coming back for more. No bull, or as Bully the star of TV's Bullseye would say, moveless.
Dear me.
Yep.
Thump!
That don't... It doesn't work, does it? It doesn't work moveless. It's
No,
not
it
close.
doesn't.
You can't
It's
have
stupid.
that. Yeah. What did you say? Moveless? Thump. Yeah.
Take that. Oh!
Why? It's what I do. Anyway, there's a loading screen where we get a stupid, sexy bully looking at us from the middle of a dartboard, around which are far too many icons of sport to really take in. All those thoughts, just icons. Once you get to the option screen and silence. Using the joystick, we can select from all of these games listed above. So they're basically in a list in the middle. Standard 501, round the board. You can also play darts variants of football, tennis, golf, cricket, and snooker. Okay, there's it's a weird front end, this. There's an image of each one of these, and you've got 3 on the left and 3 on the right, and you select which one you want with the joystick, moving up and down the list. As you do, there's an icon at the top which switches to the option you're presently on, but moves the one that was there to where you moved to where that one was. It seems an overly complicated representation of just moving up and down a list. I don't know why it does this, but it does. Anyway, press fire to select the game type, but depending on which one you choose, you can play in teams of up to 5 players or just against a computer by typing the word computer and then a number from 1 to 9 for its skill level, and then the game starts, depending on which one you've done. All or part of the board will now be shown. It's different, you see, for different games. You control a floating hand that floats around the screen. We've seen this in other dart type games, things like 180 and things like that. And it floats around the screen with the dartboard, and you wrestle this with your joystick to where you want to throw the dart, and little touches to try and steady it. And then you press fire to launch it. It throws the dart. What I found a strategy wiki for this. So I'm just going to use that to outline the game types. Okay, so 501 and round the clock. It's called round the clock, but it says on the back round the board. They're fairly basic. So 501, first to 501, end on a double. Round the clock is basic round the board, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But the difference here is that if you hit a treble or a double, you move 2 numbers ahead or 3 numbers. I've never played that version.
No, I've never heard of that.
If you get a treble 1, you go to 4. You know, and if you get treble 4, you go 5, 6, 7. Then you're on 7. But anyway, that's what you do here. The other games, though, there's football. So in the football one, there's only the top half of the board, essentially. So 20 in the middle, and it goes down to 11, I think, and whatever the others on the other side. Not quite down to the full half. So the highlighted section, and in one of the numbers is highlighted. So it's usually 20 in the middle. When the number is hit, the highlight will move towards the opponent's side. So basically, if you imagine half a dartboard and the bits on the left and right are goals, you need to hit the number to push it back and forth, essentially, by 1 to 3 positions, depending on whether you hit single, double, or treble. When you reach the opponent's goal, so if you push it all the way to the left and it's in the goal, if you hit the ball, you score a goal. That's how this works. There's a timer counting up in the UI on the right. When that timer's up, whoever scored the most goals wins. It's football, kind of like that. Tennis. So tennis has the 20 and the 3 are missing, so the top and the bottom, and you've got 2 halves of the board. Okay. So the player on the left starts by serving, and to serve, one of the doubles will light up. You've got to throw and hit that double. That if you hit that double, that counts as your serve. Then the player on the right, one of their trebles will light up, and they've got to hit the treble. If they hit the treble, they return the ball, and then you have a rally. And then if you miss one of those hits, you lose a point. It's standard tennis scoring, so 15 love, 30 all, 40, and you play a set. Tennis, but with this weird kind of darts variant. In golf, the numbers 1 to 18 represent the 18 holes on a golf course. Both players have to hit each number 3 times in ascending order.
Okay.
And doubles and trebles count as 2 and 3 of a number respectively. A hole in one can also be achieved by hitting a treble with your first dart. And if you do that, a little bully pops up at the top. The amount of strokes for each hole represents the amount of darts it takes to finish each one. Cricket, this variant is comprised of 2 innings. To start one innings, the batting side will throw first, and throws will then alternate between batsmen and bowlers. To score a run, the batting side must get at least 40 points with 3 darts. Only points above that will be counted as runs. And the bowling side must hit 2 balls with 3 darts to take a wicket. The centre of the ball counts as 2 wickets. If you hit the 25, it's 1. So there you go. Cricket plays like that. Snooker, God. For this variant, the numbers 1 to 15 represent the red balls on a snooker table, while the numbers 16 to 20 and bull, 25 and bull, represent the yellow, green, blue, pink, and black. Respectively. To pot a red ball, both players must hit 3 numbers representing them in one throw, and to pot a coloured ball, they must hit their numbers 4 times. Doubles and trebles count as 2 and 3 respectively for both cases. Like a real snooker, a red ball must be potted before each coloured ball until they've all gone. Then each coloured ball must be potted in turn, ending at bull, which represents the black ball, and so on and so forth. It's a variant of snooker with darts. It's very complicated.
That sounds too complicated for me.
It really is. And that's it. That's it. You've got variants of darts where you try and simulate other sports. Okay. So the visuals, they're okay. It's a dartboard. It's easy enough to read. There's a big floating hand floating around, jittering around. Ooh, it's nicely animated. It sort of wobbles back and forth, back and forth. The way the darts fly through the air, they look okay. They sort of go forward. This guy can do 3D, so, they're all right. There's no slowdown or anything. There's not much in the way of sounds. There's some beeps and the like. The sound of the dart hitting the board, sort of, that's your lot. There's nothing really wrong with this, I guess. I imagine that if you had someone to play it with, it could be okay, but it's lacking in atmosphere to really make it feel enjoyable. There's some little bullies that pop up when you get a treble or a hole in one on the golf, etc. No real sounds to go with it. Why, when bully pops up, doesn't it go, ooh, or some kind of noise? Like he does in the TV show. There's no music.
No.
Graham, in a bullseye game, there's no bullseye music.
You need a bit of that,
just
don't you?
Bring someone in and do the bullseye theme. That's a crime. It's a crime not to have no bullseye music in. It's like we had no Match of the Day music last time. These are crimes.
It is.
It robs the game of a real bit of appeal. You take away bully, you just have a darts game here. This isn't bullseye. It's a darts game with someone else. I just wonder if that's what this was. It made this darts game and they just went, oh, we've got this bullseye license. Stick bully in it somewhere. So you ended up with stupid sexy bully on the title screen and bully popping up when you got a treble or something. I don't get it. Everyone loves a bit of bully. Yeah, right. There's no bully here to love.
No.
It feels a bit flat. Yeah. And as a party game, which this could have been, you need those bullseye elements to bring it to life.
Yeah.
If you got to sell this to like your mum and dad or something like that who might be interested. Oh, we've got a bullseye game. Oh, yeah, I like a bit of bullseye. Yeah, let's play a bit of bullseye. Move the joystick around. Oh, look at that hand, and you throw it, and then when it pops, Jim Bowen, a picture of Jim Bowen popping up or something like that. Whatever. As it is, it's competent, but whilst this goes for treble 20, it lands in the 1 or the 5 for me. Misses the mark by some margin. It's not a bullseye game. This is a darts game that's had the bullseye stuff stuck on top. I'm sure of it. Because and didn't we have that Jockey Wilson game, that Jockey Wilson compendium of darts?
Basically the
same. Didn't that do something similar a while back? So I don't know what score did this get? It got 82%.
No way.
No. It's 50s, 60s tops. It works, but there's no atmosphere, and it's not going to keep you playing. You need some fun. You need some fun in this, and there's very little of that. So there you go. It's a bullseye-less bullseye game, which is what it is, I guess. What did you think?
Same. It wasn't a bullseye game for a start, and because it had bully in it. And bully wasn't the thing, really. I mean, bully was for bullseye, hence the bully thing. You don't have the rest of bullseye in it. It's just a bull with darts. It doesn't make any contextual sense. And then the actual mechanics of the game itself, it felt like I was throwing rockets at the board, not darts. And the physics of old jelly hands was there, and I didn't like that. I know darts isn't a particularly complicated game. You don't need to make it lots more complicated by fusing it with other game types that just happen to have objects that have a physics apply. Don't mix snooker or golf into darts. Never do that. Darts is just darts, and it's good. Darts is a good enough game. It doesn't need the extra weird challenges. It reminded me of when you used to get like the Atari 2600 games. You'd get darts, and then you'd get 128 variations of darts. Invisible darts, darts with no, flashing darts. One dart, riddle me fiddle. And you'd get all these variations, and it was just darts with, different slight variations. They did that with the Space Invaders, didn't there? There was about 150 versions of Space Invaders, or Pong, yeah. Pong without bats,
small
Pong with bats,
big bats,
big
two bats, squash, doubles.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same with any of those sort of games. And it reminded me of that. You've just contrived game types. Just stick to the one and do that well. Don't just make lots of average to crap ones. And don't put bully in there. And it's not even a very good version of bully. It looks like a pig. So
yeah.
I didn't enjoy it. It just, it made me question things. I was thinking, why are the numbers on the dartboard in that configuration? And it's obviously it's a design choice to make. If you miss the high numbers, you get penalised. So there's always a low number either side of a high number. I didn't really have that thought in my mind until I was playing this, because my mind just drifted. I'm thinking, no.
You went into darts analysis mode. That's how boring you found this.
But in the classic tradition of sports games on the C64, the best versions of these were peaked early. So 180 was the best darts game, I think, out of all of them, as it turned out. Yeah. And it's always been the same. The best golf game came out early, leaderboard. The best multi-sport games, the summer games and the winter games, the epics games came out earlier. So they did sports games better earlier, and some never really got that great. No, but this one isn't a very good darts game, and it's very much that Jockey Wilson's multi-dart thing. And just stick to bloody darts and do a good darts game. That's the trick, isn't it? How about you do this? You make it 2-player, which darts fundamentally. So have the 1-player if you really must, but you have 2-player. They can choose their darts, give them the different darts to pick and the different flights, and have different, maybe different leagues like it did in 180, so that you've got to work way up to the darts champions and stuff like that, and have, so you could play it, 2 players, or maybe play a little mini championship amongst your friends, and then also have the CPU players in there. Or if you're going to do a bullseye game, do a bullseye game where you've got Jim Bowen and you've got questions you have to answer, and then you've got one good player and one not so good, and stuff like that. But don't do this. So a disappointing last game, really, that we've looked at, because it was not a good darts game and not a good bullseye game. So it wasn't a very good game, was it, overall? So no. Go and play 180 by Mastertronic all those years ago, which was budget as well and cheaper than this at the time. Yeah. So go and play it. It was $2.99, wasn't it? So go and play that.
Absolutely. There you go. That's it. What a one to end on. Could have been Super Smashing Great, but was unfortunately a trouser press.
No, yeah, it's the shortest time you've ever enjoyed a game. Oh, I've got a darts game. Oh, it's not a darts game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I actually wanted 2 in a bed for this one.
Exactly.
There we go. That's it. Wow, we're done.
We played them all. We did it. We did it. We played them all. I know. I always wondered how I'd feel in this moment when we first started out on this podcast, and I'm kind of a little bit melancholy, a little bit saddened that we've reached the end of all of those games.
I'm not sure it'll catch on.
And the last bit of gloom. I was initially quite elated.
A sense of ennui.
I'm being filleted. No, I'm not.
No,
but I thought that I always hoped that the last games of the podcast would always be really good, and would be like, oh, these games are so amazing, and it just didn't work out that way. The peak era was some time ago for the C64.
Yeah.
And what we've been watching is the last throes of that phase of its life. all right, but it's kind of amazing. How many games is it in total? It must be 1,800 around that.
I don't know. I'll know next week. Well, I'll know when we do the budget.
When we do the bread bins and stuff.
Bread bins. Yeah, I'll know. I'll have all those stats. I'm going to save my like. This at this point in time, this moment is very like
exactly.
But I'll save sort of final thoughts and stuff when we do the next couple.
It's same. I'll same. But all I'll say is, we've reached the end of the games in Zap. We've reached the end of Zaps. The podcast isn't ending. We've just to make sure we reiterate that this is not the end of the Zap the Past podcast. It's just the end of the Zaps Zaps issues. We've done all 90 of them, which is what we set out to do. That was always the plan, and we've bloody well done it. So a pat on the back, I think, for you, Adrian. For sticking at it, and a pat
on the back for you as well.
Yeah,
sticking at it just as much.
Mutual patted, no thumps, all pat. I think because we stuck at it, and I think some people maybe thought we wouldn't do it. I think we've had people that genuinely really wanted us to, and Vogue does on. Steve from the podcast, the Retro Asylum podcast. A big believer, and many other, and all of our patrons and everybody else. We owe a great deal of gratitude for all of those people that listened as well over that time. Continue to listen to us. We're still carrying on, but this is just the last Zap. And also, I'm a little bit saddened because it's the last Zap magazine. Now, well, I say that it's not. Zap exists now, and it's in a new format, and it is really brilliantly put together. And hats off to the people that have picked up the mantle there and run it in its new format, because it is really good. So go and seek out the new mini versions of Zap, because there's quite a few of them out there. It's beautifully produced and everything else. Hats off to those guys and amazing work they do. But this is the original Zaps, and it went with a fizzle, didn't it? And a bit of a misfire. It had that hiccup where the writing was on the wall early. It sort of hung on for a while, didn't it? And then it came back,
came back in a very dilapidated fashion.
Yeah, I'm likening it to Pet Sematary. It was like they took it and buried it in the Pet Cemetery, and it came back, but it wasn't the same, was it? It wasn't quite the same. They don't come back the same.
Scores had got a bit mangled, and
the artwork was less thought out. The covers weren't as good. I mean, Ollie Frey's an amazing talent, and but you can see that the magazine was just on its way out. Does he return actually for the Commodore 4, Ollie Frey? Does he do the covers for that, or?
I don't think he does. No, I mean you can look at them if you want. They're in the folder.
Because he did Fear, didn't he? And he did other things. So.
He did do Fear. Yeah. Let me just have a look. I've got the magazines here.
But at the end of this phase, we've done 90 issues of Zap. We said we would, and we did.
No, the cover is not very good to issue one of Commodore Force.
No, thousands of games played, lots of dog eggs laid. But we'll deal with the bread bin and the bread bin of bread bins, of course, the two final episodes of this phase of the podcast, where we will look back at those games of 1992, which is going to be a very difficult thing to find anything good in there. There's very few. I had a look over the list, and I was really struggling to identify anything that was decent in some of those categories. There's plenty that wasn't, and that's actually the hardest part. Is trying to pick out which out of the crap is the most crap. There's so many bad arcade conversions, so many crap licensed games. One of the best games of the year, strangely enough, was never bloody released anyway. So
Daffy Duck.
So
yeah, true.
Very strange state of affairs.
Yeah, there's the odd one or two. I think I've got a feeling Creatures 2 might just walk away with things up, but Cruel Croc Twins is quite good, and I quite enjoyed that. So
yeah,
we'll see.
I had a good listen to some of the music, and this again is the odd one here and there. But when I look back at over the previous, where we've had quite clear winners, it's very hit and miss this time. I think the odd one.
The only category, but it might not actually, because there's been some odd. The only category that I think the games from this year are going to trouble are the worst and the craziest concepts.
Yeah, because
I don't
plenty
think
of them.
Yeah, I mean, there's a football game based around a Filofax.
Yeah.
There's a cricket game based around a scoreboard. I mean, that's pretty crazy. But also they're crap as well. But yeah, so I don't think the best game, the best music and stuff from this, it's not going to trouble the bread bin.
No,
it is what it is.
Go.
But however, just to sort of round off, there were a couple of budget releases in this issue. We've seen these recently. There was Doc Croc's Outrageous Adventures was released for £4. That was a renamed Round the Bend.
Right. What did they rename that under?
I don't know. And so and oddly enough, there's also another review of Neighbours in this issue for some reason. I don't know why.
Did it get a different score?
I don't know. I didn't look. I don't think so. It might have done. Also, there's a chart.
Okay.
But it's the top 100.
How bizarre. Top 100. And it's compiled by Gallup. So it's an actual proper chart. Finally, after 90 issues.
Yeah.
How mad is that?
I know. I don't think I can go through all 100.
No.
I'll go through the top 20.
Okay.
So I don't know where these were. There's just a list of games, basically. I don't even know if this is right. Whatever. Anyway, 20 is WWF WrestleMania.
Okay.
Slicks is at 19. Championship 3D Soccer is at 18.
Okay.
Multiplayer Soccer Manager is at 17. Emlyn Hughes International Soccer is at 16. Dizzy Down the Rapids at 15. Super Off-Road Racer is at 14. Jack Nicklaus Golf 13. DJ Puff at 12. The reviewed Dizzy Prince of the Yolk Folk is at 11. Creatures is at 10.
Right.
Match of the Day is at 9.
Oh dear.
People 11 quid. Fun School 2 over 8 is at number 8.
Okay.
F-16 Combat Pilot is at number 7. Lotus Turbo Challenge at 6. Italian 90 is at 5.
What?
Rainbow Islands is at 4. Graham Souness Soccer is at 3.
Never looked at that.
Golden Axe is at 2. And finally Arnie.
What an odd chart.
It's a mix of budget and full price. I don't know.
It just says 100 selling C64 programs as compiled by Gallup. It's like somebody tells me that doesn't sound very official, and it's sponsored by Penguin Biscuits. I mean, what is going on?
Who knows? Well, the fact that it's sponsored by Penguin Biscuits, I'm surprised that James Pond 2, because that was sponsored by Penguin.
There's some odd games in that list as well, so it's very strange. But it's obviously a mixture of budget and full price in there. But
James Pond 2 is at 36.
Mini Office, you could get a copy of Mini Office for 96. It's probably better to get that and play and pretend you're a football manager instead of getting Match of the Day.
Yeah, I know.
Would make more sense.
Would make more sense. But that's it. Anyway, number 100 is Indie Heat. Oh, yeah.
Terrible thing.
Yeah, true. Knack is 98. This must just be like that someone bought one of them in a WH Smithson wearing Bangor or something.
You can't take this chart too seriously, really, I suppose. There's some really odd things in there. What's SGI for?
That's SCI, I think, isn't it?
It's £20, that is.
I don't know. What's, I want to know, looking through some of these, what number 74, Slightly Magic by Codemasters?
Starting to feel like this list is made up. It's got Chris Morrisisms.
True. Anyway, there we go. That's it. We've done it.
That's it.
Yeah, well, that's it. I don't know.
All 90 issues done.
I know. I really, honestly, don't really know what to say right now. I'm a bit of
I don't know how to feel about it. Yeah, I'm a bit sort of like, well, I was kind of hoping it'd be a bigger bang at the end, but we've done it, and that was the plan. Yeah,
well done.
Yeah, and it means we're probably two of a very select bunch of people in the world that have played every C64 game now, pretty much all the main ones that are reviewed in that magazine, which was plenty. I mean, there's stuff around the edges we haven't done, of course, because they weren't in Zap, but we've played exactly the same games that Zap did. Yeah, all 1,800 of them or so. Yep, 1,800 of them. But yeah. Anyway, I think that's it. We'll go because we're just gonna. I think we'll just get a bit maudlin if we don't. We'll just get a bit like, still crying into a pint soon. We've got the bread bins to go, and then the bread bin of bread bins after that. So yeah. Oh, you stop being maudlin, thump. Oh, why'd you do that? That's what he does. It's what he does. It's all he does. What he does. It's all he does. He thumps. So on that thumpy note, we're going to go. We have 2 more episodes left, as we said. So we have the 1992 Bread Bin Awards next week, followed by. Now, I will say the plan is to do the Bread Bin of Bread Bins in one episode. Mm-hmm. But I have a wondering feeling whether it might stretch over 2 because I think. Yeah, it's quite big. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how it works. We'll see how it's going. It might be over 2 because there's a lot to discuss in that. I mean, you're talking about a whole. It's a big thing. You're talking about 8 years worth of games. Trying to work out what the last episode of that phase of the podcast before it changes. Yeah, so it might be one, which means if you're listening to this on the Patreon, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/Zapped to the Past. That'll be the 30th of April, I guess. If you're listening to this on the normal, you'd be listening to this on May Day, I guess. First Monday of May.
That'll be that. If not, it'll be the week before, so the 23rd and 27th. But we don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Basically, that we know the next week's is going to be one episode. It's probably going to take about 5 minutes. Yeah, this is crap. This is crap. Creatures 2 is the best game. There you go. Can we go home now?
I hope you enjoyed that, Bread Bins.
Yeah. So that'll be it. But the following week could very well stretch over to, because obviously we're going to have, Patreon contributions and all kinds of stuff and things like that. So we'll see how it goes. But we may have 2 more episodes, maybe 3. We'll see how it pans out. We're not trying to stretch out, but we just know that bread bin of bread bins is going to be a discussion and a half. No 2 ways around that. But on that note, we've done all the zaps. Well done us. We've done them all. So as ever, I have been Adrian Mills.
And I have been Graham Raddings.
And you've been listening to Zapped to the Past, not for the final time, but for the final time looking at a Zap magazine. We will see you again next week where we will discuss what was good and what was best in life from 1992. See you then.
Thank you for listening to the Zapped to the Past podcast. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the world of Commodore 64 games, as well as the music, films and TV from around the 1980s, driven, of course, by the issue of Zap 64 magazine published at that time. We will return with a whole new batch of games and stuff to talk about next week. Until then, if you want to listen to or download previous episodes of Zapped to the Past, and why wouldn't you, they can all be found on our website at zappedtothepast.com, as well as being available on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Deezer, Audible, Player FM, and, well, pretty much anywhere where we can upload them. By the way, we do always love to hear from our amazing listeners, so if you'd like to contact us about anything in the podcast or beyond, you can do so by emailing us at zappedtothepast@gmail.com. We're also active on Twitter under @ZapTother, as well as Facebook, Instagram, and most social media platforms. Just search for Zap to the Past and you'll find us. Oh, and if you like the podcast and what we're doing, please do like, share, review, rate us. It really helps. Something. Apparently, the Zap to the Past podcast is written and produced by Adrian Mills and Graham Raddings and recorded at Flaky Bits 2.0 Studio. All opinions expressed are those of the writers, and while we indeed love Zap 64 magazine, the Zap to the Past podcast is not affiliated with it in any way. Stay safe, see you next time, and remember, we play these games so you don't have to.